We have football, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, yeah, we've had football all week. Yeah, we had a ton of college games yesterday. Yeah, we had a ton of NFL games on Thursday. Yeah, we had a ton of college games on Friday. Still, we have a full slate of NFL games here this fine Sunday. So you better believe we have a lot to talk about. You better believe we have a lot to be excited and thankful for. But thank you so much for everybody coming out. And I know that, yes, this live stream's a little bit later than it usually is, but I felt that since we've had so many games getting played on Thursday and Friday, I figured maybe there were slightly fewer questions than what we usually have. But let's go ahead. Let's find some of these. CR coming out with our first one, saying PBR pick 2, Olave, Kupp, Puka. So, I mean, if you are looking at this list of guys, I would have previously told you, you know what? You need to play Puka. Puka is a must-start option, yada, yada, yada. Now it's a little bit tougher to get behind that with Kupp being good to go. I would say that I'm actually probably going to go ahead and play Kupp over Puka. I know that sounds crazy with how bad Kupp's been. If you look at the underdog pick'ems, they have the same thing. They have Kupp 67.5 yards. I believe they have Puka at like 60. May actually also go ahead Olave Puka will be up to you. I mean, it's a really good matchup. Can everybody please spam the chat? What would you rather have? Would you rather have Olave or Puka in your starting lineup this week? And then between Kyler and Dobbs, Hollywood Brown is good to go. So honestly, I'm not going to be thinking about this one too much. I'm just going to go ahead. I'm just going to play Hollywood. Puka, 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 Olave, Puka, Puka. So it does look like everybody's still going Puka over Olave, which is how I had it ranked at the beginning of the week. I didn't know if we wanted to go through and change things with Kupp being good to go. But Tommy coming out saying, let's go full BBR, Allen or Kyler. I mean, Allen does have a tough matchup. Obviously, Mahomes just struggled against the Eagles, but we're still going to go Josh Allen. TJ or McBride. We're going to go TJ, especially with the possibility you'll have no Justin Jefferson. They need a high ceiling flex. Kyron, Nico, Zay, or Ford behind in the game. It's either going to be down between Kyron Williams or Nico Collins for me. Not really considering any of these other options. Not considering Zay here. Not considering Jerome Ford here. Both players do have a very high ceiling. You probably go ahead and take Kyron Williams if we don't care about the floor. But the thing is, if you are looking at Nico Collins, you have no Noah Brown. This is an offense where you have the guaranteed production in a high score. I'm sorry. I'm trying to think about this. I still probably go Kyron Williams. Noah Brown. I mean, Nico Collins is very compelling with no Noah Brown, though. Teddy says Ridley or Addison. Let me go ahead and just make sure we're not missing any reports on Justin Jefferson, because my baseline assumption is Jefferson's not going to be playing this week. And if you have no Justin Jefferson, I think that Jordan Addison is a compelling play here at wide receiver. Now, if Jefferson does play, then it's going to be Calvin Ridley, not even close. Okay. Is there anything new other than Jefferson just being questionable? No, Justin Jefferson's still just questionable. Saying, oh, if I feel good, I'll play. If I don't feel good, I won't play. I'm probably going to go ahead, just play it safe with Calvin Ridley. I don't want to read too much into, oh, okay, obviously the splits with and without Zay Jones show that Calvin Ridley is an elite receiver. With Zay Jones, well, while it's fun looking at that, do I 100% buy in and think that's going to be the case the entire season? Probably not. You're probably just operating with a little bit of a smaller sample. Zay Jones probably does make Ridley a little bit better here, but I don't think he's like guaranteed to be an elite receiver with Zay Jones in the offense. But I think we can go Calvin Ridley. BB says, how many eliminators are you still alive in? I do not know, my friend. I can go ahead and pull this up for you. But if y'all don't know, we drafted about 10 eliminator teams this offseason, which I don't know exactly how many drafted. The only ones we drafted were on the live stream. But those were the drafts on Underdog where it's like a survivor contest. Honestly, very fun style draft where you have to think about things completely differently. But let me go ahead, pull this up. Unless I cannot find it. I don't know if I'm live in anymore. I know as of 3 weeks ago, we were still live in about 4 of them. But yeah, I can't find it. So I'm assuming we're not live in any of them anymore, my friend. Well, that is disappointing. Mr. Frost says, PBR pick 3. Olave, Ridley, Chase, Ford, or Dell. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Chase, Dell relatively easily. And then I still am going to go Olave over Calvin Ridley. I think you just have a much higher floor with Olave. Dill says, love you, Mason. Love you, my friend. Kupp or Tank, and then Taysom or Frymuth. I'm going to go with Tank over Kupp, especially with no Noah Brown, being in a better offense. And then between Taysom and Frymuth, I am sitting up a prayer Frymuth is better. I'm sitting up a prayer that Frymuth does something for our Underdog best ball teams. But until we actually see it, it is very hard to believe it. So I'm going to go with Taysom, send up a prayer, you just get the touchdown. But I don't know. I'm really hoping I am wrong. I'm really hoping that Frymuth has a bigger week. Now, B. Ruckus says, Kyler or Fields? I will go Kyler over Fields. I like the matchup. Kyler's shown us the rushing upside as well. Hollywood Brown is good to go. And then flex Deontay Johnson or James Conner. Thanks, brother. Appreciate you, my friend. We will go James Conner. Even though Deontay Johnson is more compelling with Matt Canada being fired. Like, we have the Underdog Pick'em Steeler lines up right now. And if you actually look at what these lines did once Matt Canada got fired, Kenny Pickett's passing yardage number went up. Deontay Johnson receiving yardage number went up with no Matt Canada, which was really funny. But yeah, I mean, still you have Deontay 52.5 receiving yards, 1.5x multiplier for a touchdown. I don't think we're super excited about him until we see the offense and how it does change. And of course, ladies and gentlemen, if you all want to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, one of my favorite pick'ems this week is going to be Jamar Chase for more than 64.5 receiving yards. You can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus my rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick'em more than less than half the total yards. Make sure you take advantage of that, ladies and gentlemen. But Omar says, Olave or Javonte, floor versus ceiling? Honestly, I think you get a combination of both floor and ceiling here with Olave over Javonte. Javonte has the workload in most weeks. We'll probably go Javonte if he has a good matchup, but the issue is it's about the worst matchup that you could possibly ask for. AJ says, streaming a quarterback, Baker, Gardner, or Carr. Not Derek Carr. It's either Baker or Gardner Minshew. I'm trying to think between the two. I'll probably go Baker because I think you probably have him skewing a little more pass happy. With the banged up Rachaad White in comparison to what you have with Gardner Minshew. Matt says you should do more collabs with BDG. Tell him to reach out, my friend. Evan says, PBR need one. Kyron Smith, Ramadre, Nico, or Kincaid. Here, I think that a lot of weeks we will go Kyron Williams, especially with a good matchup. Just, I don't really feel like we need to be doing that here until we see him fully healthy, right? So I would just play it safe. I'm just going to go ahead and take Devonta Smith. We know Smith is going to see the expanded role overall with no Dallas Goedert. I mean, we saw it last year. We're seeing it this year as well, where the target volume is consistently there. So yeah, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to take Devonta Smith, my friend. Now, Connor says full BBR Puka or Nico, and then Singletary or Judy. So I am lowering my expectations with Judy. I'm sorry, with Singletary with Dameon Pierce back in. However, if we are going to be comparing him to Jerry Jeudy, I still have to go Devin Singletary, right? Still have no other option but to go Devin Singletary. We're not playing Jerry Jeudy against the Browns. And then between Puka or Nico Collins, I'm going to go Puka. I do really like Nico Collins this week with no Noah Brown, with how good this offense has looked. But I still think you probably got to go Puka. Reynolds says, half point BBR, Evans or Rachaad White for the flex. I'm going to go Mike Evans relatively easily. Don't like the fact that Rachaad White was downgraded, blah, blah, blah. While I still think that you can play Rachaad White, if it's this close, I'm not really going to be thinking about it too much. I'm just going to be playing Mike Evans. Now, AJ says Odell or Mixon for the flex. Yeah, so Odell is good to go. And obviously, if you are looking at Odell Beckham Jr., he should see the expanded role with no Mark Andrews. Joe Mixon should be in a much worse offense now that you have no Joe Burrow. But with that being said, I'm still going to go ahead. I am still going to be taking Joe Mixon. To be honest with you as well, I don't think it's too close. But Kevin says, need one for the flex and a full PBR. Kyron, Javonte, Addison, Amari, Lockett, McBride all have downside. I agree with you. All have downside, so we'll go with the guy with upside. We will go Kyron Williams here based off matchup. Now, Rise of the Vacation says, Mason, audio's been too quiet last night. Now, let me know, is the audio too quiet for y'all? Please let me know in the live chat. How is the audio? Too quiet, too loud, just right? So I can turn it up for y'all if I need to. Okay, we got some people saying it's perfect, some people saying it's quiet, so I'll turn the volume down on your phone just a bit because I'm going to turn the audio up a tiny bit. Okay. Hopefully that is better. Hopefully that was not too much. If it is too much, we can go through and turn it back down. Hudson says, with the White news, White or Kupp for the flex in a full PPR format? I probably will go Kupp, to be honest. I would rather see a player get upgraded through the week and start off questionable and end up playing rather than someone get downgraded at the end of the week and play through it regardless. So obviously, while Rachaad White's been great, I still am a little bit hesitant. And I probably would go Cooper Kupp over White. Dylan says, tiered PPR 1.5, 2, and 3. Do we play Olave or Kyron? We already have Breece and Taylor in my running back spots. Triple flex, we have Olave, Kincaid, McBride. We have Puka in the wide receiver slot, so we could swap Puka. So tiered PPR, typically we are going to be giving that premium to the wide receiver in the flex, given the fact that here they are getting 2 points per reception compared to Kyron at 1.5. I think probably I'd go Olave almost regardless. So especially if you are looking at the tiered PPR aspect being put on top of this, my friend, I think that we will just go ahead and I think we'll say it's just a probably an easy call to go Chris Olave, but happy to see you and hope you are doing well. View Blue says PBR need 2 for the flex, 4 Dell or Flowers. Hug 'em horns, my friend. And we are going to be going with Tank Dell and Zay Flowers. Zay Flowers should see the expanded role, considering the fact that you do have no Mark Andrews in this offense. And at the same time, if you are looking at what we have here with the underdog projection of Zay Flowers, while I agree it's a good matchup and he's going to get the bump with no Mark Andrews, I'm at 71.5 total yards, which does kind of seem crazy to me. I'm taking the lower than on underdog, but with that being said, if that's where they're putting him as their projection, it probably does tell us that we need to be starting him at the very least. Now, Joe says, for the flex, Kyron, Bijan, Puka, Ridley, Lockett, thank you. I am the wrong guy to ask. I am an idiot, but I'm going to go Bijan Robinson, hook 'em horns. Obviously, I'm very biased. I interviewed this guy at the drafts. I ran into him at gyms in Austin. I went to the University of Texas. So I am very biased, my friend. But I'm going to send up a prayer that Arthur Smith learns to use him in the bye week. And we get more Bijan Robinson coming out of it. But people smarter than me would probably say not to do that. Now, Brian says, start 2 receivers, Diggs, Olave, Dell. I'm going to be going with Diggs and Dell. And then Kyler Fields at quarterback. I think we are going to go Kyler now, considering the fact that you have no Hollywood Brown here. I'm sorry, Hollywood Brown is playing. Now, Henry says, need to Bijan, Ramondre, Mixon, Warren, full PBR, double flex. I'm going to go with Bijan and Mixon. I understand that the Cincinnati Bengals offense will be much worse now than it was with Joe Burrow. But that doesn't change the fact that you are looking at Ramondre Stevenson, who's also in a horrible offense. Ramondre Stevenson, who's been very inefficient this season. And Ramondre Stevenson, who is sharing his backfield in his horrible offense. Where while Joe Mixon will be in a horrible offense, at least he'll get everything in said offense. Kyler says, leave Henry and Kabara in over Kyron, Adams, or Ridley. I would say yes. Most weeks, if it's a full PBR format, we're probably going to go through and play Devontae Adams over Derrick Henry. But this week in particular, with Henry going up against the Carolina Panthers, I think we can go Derrick Henry. Joe says, Downs or Najee Harris in a half PPR format. I'm going to go Josh Downs. I think that he has a higher ceiling, maybe a little bit of a lower floor, but a comparable floor and a higher ceiling. So give me Josh Downs. Jackson says, Rondale Moore, Quentin Johnson, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, my friend. You do have Hollywood Brown playing. You have no Michael Wilson. Quentin Johnston looks horrendous. Quentin Johnston also has a very bad matchup at the same time. So I think a lot of people would rightfully say, you know what? I don't have much interest in Johnston here. And I don't have much interest in him either, but with Hollywood Brown being good to go, I probably would play Quentin Johnston over Rondale Moore, to be honest with you. It's the quarterback play. I mean, while he's been very bad with his usage, I mean, he's clearly getting used, right? Now, the thing is, can he hold on to the ball? He is drawing targets in a very good offense, so we'll go with him. Number one Stunna says, need a receiver, pick one. Deontay, London, Rice, Shaheed. So Shaheed's more interesting now that you have no Michael Thomas. Rice is more interesting now that you have no Mecole Hardman, no Kadarius Toney. But with all that being said, I think Deontay is more interesting now that you have no Matt Canada. So I'll probably go ahead and play Deontay Johnson, especially in a full PPR format where we've seen him have the target volume. And we'll send up the prayer that no Matt Canada makes this offense much better. Like I was saying, I mean, if you look at the underdog pick'ems right now. They actually did move up Kenny Pickett's passing yardage number once you had no Matt Canada in this offense. Now, CP3 says, JT, Puka, Chase, White. One has to go. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I mean, obviously, all these guys are pretty damn exciting. I would just say that with the injury concerns that you have of Rachaad White, there's no real reason to like roll the dice on Rachaad White over someone like Jonathan Taylor. Like I wouldn't do it in the first place, but add on the injury concerns. And I think it's probably an easy call to just go through and bench Rachaad White out of this group. Trevor says, the Mesa Spades, I ask you again, Tank or Puka, 12-team full BBR. Thanks. I appreciate you, my friend. And I am going to move Puka down now that we have Kupp good to go. And honestly, with no Noah Brown, with Kupp good to go, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to play Tank Dell relatively easily. I mean, better offense, more productive as of late, less target competition as well. Yeah, I'm going to go Tank Dell. Now, Jamie says, happy BR, pick one for the flex. Pickens, Najee, and Keaton Mitchell. I'm going to go with Najee. I know Keaton Mitchell's the exciting play. Keaton Mitchell has a great matchup, the whole 9 yards. I don't know. I mean, once Keaton Mitchell has a couple weeks with 10 or more carries, I'll play him. Thing is, I don't like playing a running back that has absolutely no volume whatsoever and trying to bank on him continue to go out there and be the most efficient running back in the NFL. Like, that's not a good bet in my mind. Now, RJ says, starting Hurts, Chase, started Jaden Reed, good call, Pacheco, JT, and Kittle. Kincaid, blah, blah, blah. Kirk, CJ, Najee, Odell, Philly. Was that the right decision? I mean, we have a seriously good quarterback room here. I probably do go Jalen Hurts over Stroud if it's a 4-point passing touchdown format. 6-point passing touchdown league, I may go Stroud. And then Kincaid versus Christian Kirk is interesting. I mean, I would say that you'd way rather have Kincaid from a value proposition. But if you were going to be starting these guys, I may end up actually going ahead and playing Kirk in the flex. While Kincaid's a locked and loaded top 5 tight ends, ultimately, I don't know how excited we are to play tight ends in the flex. I mean, I'm sure you're tired of hearing me say that by now, but still. So if you were to make a swap, I would go Christian Kirk over Dalton Kincaid. But that's not a swap that you need to make. Now, Machu, happy to see you, says, good morning, bro. Full BBR, we got to sit one. Mixon, Kyron, and Ramadre. And then flex, Pacheco, Stevenson, or Kirk. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I'm going to sit Ramadre. With Ramadre, not much has changed in my mind. He's still an inefficient running back in a running back by committee in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. I can overcome a couple of those things, but to package those all together to one player, it's tough. And then flex, Pacheco, Stevenson, or Kirk. Appreciate you. Appreciate you again. We will be going with Pacheco. Let's go Pacheco. Stevenson, we've already talked down on him enough. With Kirk, looks like Ridley's going to be seeing some volume here. So I think it's a spot where we can use that as a tiebreaker against them. Nick says, happy BR, start Shaheed, Pickens, Douglas, or Shakir. Shaheed had 9 targets this past week. Michael Thomas is now in the IR. So this may be the first time I've said this all season, but I think you can go ahead and play Shaheed. I think you can play Shaheed here. Now, Johnny says, good morning, Mason. 10-team full BBR single flex. We have Kyler, Moore, Ridley, Pollard, Henry, Kelsey, Charbonnet. And then on the bench, Tua, Hopkins, Walker, Addison, Cook, Ford, Rice, Herbert. Need to drop 2 players for a kicker and a defense. So we're going to be looking to drop the players with the lowest ceiling. If we are going through and if we are determining who we want at the very bottom end of our roster, We want to go through and we want to get the players that have the highest ceilings that could actually make a difference. So I think we are probably going to go ahead and drop Rice and Khalil Herbert. It's down between Ford, Rice, and Khalil. It would be up to you between those three guys. We've seen Ford, while he is in a committee, while he is in a bad offense, at least we've seen him have usage inside the red zone, and we've seen him have usage in the receiving game. So, I mean, if you were to have an injury to Kareem Hunt, then maybe he can step into being a 3-down back behind a good offensive line. But our next question coming out from Johnny says, full BBR start 1, Ridley, Hopkins, or Addison? So if we were for sure to have no Justin Jefferson, which Jefferson looks doubtful right now, but there is the outside chance he plays. But if we were for sure to have no Justin Jefferson, I think you make an argument for Jordan Addison. But the possibility that Jefferson is going to play, I don't really want to I don't want to be planning on Addison here. If you look at my rankings, we have all three of these guys ranked back to back to back. I have Calvin Ridley 25, Hopkins 26, and Addison 27 this week. So, I mean, my rankings say it's Calvin Ridley, but if they are ranked back to back to back, the reality of the situation is it really is up to you, and I don't think you can go wrong with either guy, my friend. Now, MVS says, pick 2, Hollywood, Amari, Ramadre, Khalil, and then Frymuth or Auden. We're going to go Auden over Frymuth and send up a prayer that Frymuth has a better week than Cade Auden. I need it, but I can't start him until we see it. And then we will go with Ramadre Stevenson and Khalil Herbert. I know it's crazy, but Amari in a horrendous offense. Hollywood Brown, we're not sure if he's fully healthy. Khalil Herbert, you have no Deonta Foreman. Ramadre Stevenson, you have the guaranteed workload. So I don't love it, but I think it's probably the direction that we go in. Now, next question coming out from Mike, who says, rank for the flex, Evans, Pittman, DJ, and Connor. I'm going to go with Pittman, Evans as the top 2 guys, whatever order you determine. James Conner 3, DJ Moore last. But between Pickens and Evans, both guys are great options, and I think you make a strong argument for either or. Now, the Comic Chef says, what's up, Mason? Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Which one should we start? We have Hockenson, Likely, or Jonnu Smith. Honestly, not going to overthink this one too much. I know Hawkinson's a little bit banged up. I think Hockenson will be good to go, and Hawkinson's been great all season now. Yeah, I think you have no reason not to go through and take TJ Hawkinson here in this range. Now, Rich says, 2 receivers in a flex, full PBR, pick 3. Puka, DJ Pittman, and Tank. Pittman, Tank, must-start options. Comes down between DJ and Puka. I probably will go Puka over DJ Moore, though. Now, John says, hey, Mason, 12-team PBR double flex, pick 2. Nico, Singletary, Stevenson. I'm going to go with Nico and Stevenson. You're saying our quarterback Stroud, but Singletary, obviously Stroud's not my concern. My concern's not the overall offense. My concern's the workload and if this turns into a committee with Dameon Pierce coming back in. See, I really like the team. Really do appreciate you here, my friend, but I think that we probably need to go through and bench Singletary this week. I hope I'm wrong. I have Singletary on a lot of best ball teams. But bench him and wait until we see what the actual workload looks like. With Dameon Pierce. Now, Niggs says, would you trade White for Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase, or Cooper Kupp in a 1-for-1 deal? I'm 6-4. I think, honestly, I would trade Rachaad White for Jamar Chase. I know that's crazy. I know that Joe Burrow is hurt, but assuming that we have enough running back depth, which I'd assume is the case, or you would never consider something like this, I would trade Rachaad White for Jamar Chase. Jordan says, Jacobs, Cook, or Adam Thielen in the flex. So don't love Josh Jacobs this week. It is a tough matchup against KC. They should be trailing the entire time. I mean, obviously, we're operating under the assumption that Jacobs doesn't have much touchdown upside here. But given his guaranteed workload, given the fact that he is penciled in to see at minimum 15 touches, and if this game's more competitive than you would assume, then maybe that can get even higher. I think you probably have to go through. You probably take Josh Jacobs. Mark James says, Herbert or Kyler, Keaton or Madison. We're going to go Madison over Keaton, and I'm going to be going with Kyler over Herbert. Now, the Squint says 12-team full BBR. Must win this week to stay alive. Who should we flex? Kyron, White, or Olave? If White never got downgraded, if White never was questionable in the first place, I would say we would want to ride the hot hand, go with Rachaad White, get the guaranteed touches as a receiver. Obviously, upside for more, yada, yada, yada. But with Rachaad White getting downgraded later in the week, I am a little bit concerned for what that may mean with his overall usage. So I think I actually would probably go ahead. I think I'd probably just play it safe with Olave. I think White and Kyron could definitely be your options that you're looking at most weeks. But with them having their own respective injury concerns, workload concerns, might as well just play it safe and roll with Olave for this week. Now, E345 says, full BBR, we got to start two. Godwin, London, Amari, Beckham, Sutton. Also stuck between Hopkins, Connor, Deontay, and Rice for my flex in my second league. Full BBR. Thanks, Mason Rockmando. Thank you, my friend. I'm going to go Deontay over Rice, even though I will say Rice is becoming more appealing with this wide receiver room being thinned out in KC. But I'm expecting that this is actually a little bit of a better spot for Deontay Johnson now that you have no Matt Canada in here. And then between Godwin, London, Amari, Odell, and Courtland Sutton. Sutton, really tough matchup against the Browns. Like, if you look at Sutton's underdog pick'em, they have met like 45.5 receiving yards this week. I think I'm actually going to go ahead and take Godwin and Amari over Sutton. And if you think, Mason, that's crazy, Courtland Sutton has been phenomenal, you need to start Courtland Sutton, yada, yada, yada. I would encourage you, instead of going through and starting him, if you really like Courtland Sutton, go ahead and look at his underdog pick'em. And I believe, if I can find this, they have Courtland Sutton with a 2x multiplier to score a touchdown as well. Let me see. And I'm not saying, oh, it's easy. Yeah, go take the 2x multiplier for Sutton to score a touchdown. Go say he's going to have more than 45.5 receiving yards. I'm not pointing that out to tell you to go take those. I'm pointing it out to say, like, the realistic expectations for Sutton aren't too high. And I think that you should probably be a little cautious with starting him, especially in a tough matchup against Denver. And of course, if y'all wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And for tonight, ladies and gentlemen, with code FLOCK, a special pick'em, Lamar Jackson, more than less than half the total yard as well. Omar, always happy to see us, says 12-team app BBR double flex, starting Gardner Minshew, Tua benched. Interesting. Pollard, Pacheco, Amon-Ra, Keenan, Kincaid. Flex is Eckler and Gus. And then on the bench, we have Ridley, Downs, Flowers. Should we replace Gus? Zay Jones plays equals Ridley. Bold secondary comes back equals Flowers. So I have been, I don't want to say anti-Gus, but I've been expecting a Gus fallback for a little bit of time now. Like, If you look at Gus, the receiving usage is literally non-existent. He's averaging like less than a target a game. So I'm expecting Gus Edwards to fall back down to earth. I personally would probably rather go with the receiver with this being happy BR format. If you look at the underdog pick'ems, they are going to have Zay Flowers is by far and away the best guy with no Mark Andrews. Plus, it's a good matchup as well. So I'm trying to think. I probably would go ahead. I probably would just play the receiver. I think it is up to you. I think both Zay Flowers and Calvin Ridley are extremely close. I probably go Ridley maybe until we actually see what the Zay Flowers role looks like with no Andrews, even if expectations are it's much larger. It can't hurt to play it safe. It can't hurt to see it. So I'm just going to go Ridley. I'll go Ridley over Gus, though. Ron says, hey, Mason, for the flex, happy BR Puka or Jalen Warren? I'm going to go Puka. So, I mean, Jalen Warren may expand his role with no Matt Canada here, but at the same time, we don't know if that's guaranteed to be true. We're just kind of speculating. So until we actually see it, I would prefer to just go through and play it safe. Go with the guy that we know. Go Puka. Jacob says, non-PBR pick 2, Zay, Odell, Downs, Sutton, and Jefferson on Monday night. So my baseline expectation here is Jefferson does not play. Of course, I could be wrong. Of course, I hope I'm wrong. I hope Justin Jefferson plays. But I think you probably have to plan on going Zay and Downs or Zay and Sutton. Sutton's been the guy crushing it. Sutton's also the guy with the horrible matchup. Underdog has Josh Downs more likely to score a touchdown. They also have Josh Downs for more receiving yards overall as well. Zay Flowers is going to be the must-start guy here. And then your other call is going to be between Downs and Sutton. Michael says, happy BR for the flex, White, Flowers, or Calvin Ridley. Probably White in that range. I'm not super comfortable with it. But we will go White. I am a little bit hesitant, though, with him getting downgraded later in the week. Now, we are 1 like away from 300 likes on this live stream. If you have not hit that like button, hit that like button, ladies and gentlemen. Today is day 213 of live streaming every single day in a row. Phoenix says 12-team full BBR can clinch the playoffs with the W, but currently projected to lose by 5. Do we go with the floor of Deontay or play the ceiling with Keaton Mitchell? No, we're going to go Deontay Johnson. Let me go ahead and pull up what we've had from Keaton Mitchell this season. Keaton Mitchell has been active for 4 weeks. He has 20 carries and 4 receptions. Keaton Mitchell is averaging 5 carries per game and 1 reception per game. Well, yeah, he's been very efficient. He's averaging 10 yards per carry, right? Which is absolutely nuts. The reality of the situation is, until you see the volume come, Keaton Mitchell's not playable over someone like Deontay Johnson in my mind. If this next week Keaton Mitchell comes out and he has 12 carries, I'll definitely reevaluate and we'll see what changes next week. Billy says Ridley, Godwin, or Collins this week. I'm going to go Nico Collins with no Noah Brown. Dan says we lost Burrow, Stafford, or Baker today and rest of season. We're 6-5. I think you want to roster both. I think that you probably want to play the matchups between the two. And I think Stafford probably has a little bit of a better matchup here. So I'd probably go Stafford for today. Michael says Keaton Mitchell, Khalil Herbert, James Cook. We got to sit one. I'm going to be benching Keaton Mitchell because I expect that he cannot continue to average 10 yards per carry. And until the volume changes, I don't know if we can just assume that it will. Risa says, full BBR, we're going to go White or Connor. So I think that we would easily go ahead and play Rachaad White here if it wasn't for the fact that he got downgraded later in the week. Maybe now we have to be a little more concerned. Probably going to go James Conner now. We got to pick 3 between Connor, Kirk, Kupp, Downs, Hollywood, Douglas. We're going to go with Kupp, Kirk, and Connor. So we'll play both running backs. And we'll go with Kupp and Kirk outside of that. But Hollywood Brown, you also have to be a little bit concerned about with the injury, of course, right? Gregory says, full BBR, pick 1. London, Douglas, or Singletary. So I'm going to be hesitant on Devin Singletary this week with Dameon Pierce coming back in. Don't exactly know what to expect with this role, but we still probably take Devin Singletary in this range. Now, Blake says, Pittman, Kupp, White, Shaheed, Downs, Myers. We got to start 3. I'm going to be going with Pittman, Kupp for sure. Then between White, Shaheed, Downs, Myers, we will go with Rachaad White. With White, like I said, I want to be a little bit hesitant. And please don't come scream at me tonight if Rachaad White does not do well. If Rachaad White is severely limited. We have no way of knowing what will happen with Rachaad White. But with that being said, we have no idea what's happening with Shaheed, right? So it's not like we are passing up on a player with a guaranteed high floor. Brazy says, PBR start 2, Jacobs, Puka, Smith. P.S. Pray for Eckler. Send up those prayers, my friend. And we are going to be going in a full PBR format with Puka. And I think you can make an argument for Smith in a full PPR league. We probably still go Jacobs, but I think you can make a strong argument for Smith. Now, Caleb says, full PPR 7-4, flex Deontay, Hollywood, or Shaheed. If Hollywood was for sure 100% healthy, I think it would be an easy spot to go ahead and take Hollywood Brown. However, with the uncertainty that we have regarding Hollywood's health, I think we're going to play Deontay Johnson. Chris says, have BBR start Shaheed or Demario Douglas? I will go with Shaheed with no Michael Thomas. Billy says, again, Ello, are we going to go Ridley or Collins? We're going to go Collins, my friend. I mean, I think Nico Collins is just a super safe play with no Noah Brown, right? I mean, phenomenal offense. He's seeing volume, and that volume's guaranteed with no Noah Brown. Joe says, Kyron White, Pittman, Evans, full BBR, pick 2 for the flex. I'm going to go Michael Pittman. And in a full BBR format, let's play Michael Pittman, Mike Evans. I think the running backs have a lot of upside. The running backs are a fine play if you want to go in that direction. The only thing is you have to be worried somewhat about injuries with them, where Pittman and Evans are just 100% good to go. Jacob says, pick 2, Kupp, Cooper, Ridley, Deontay, or Javonte. We're going to go Kupp for sure. And then if it's a full BBR format, probably Ridley. If not, Javonte. I'd say Javonte would be the easiest call to make every single week. The issue is, obviously, this is a very tough matchup going up against the Cleveland Browns. Now, next switch coming out from, I believe, Brazy says, PBR, Puka, Swift, Moore, Kyron, or Thielen for the flex. We will go ahead. We will play DeAndre Swift. Obviously, not the easiest matchup in the world coming up. It should be, hopefully, a high-scoring game. Should be a game that we want a piece in, and at the very least, a fun game to watch, and we want a rooting interest. Now, being honest, Abe says, desperate at tight end, we got to pick one. Taysom or Jonnu in a half PPR format. I'd probably say Jonnu in a full PPR league. Half PPR league, it's a little bit tougher. Taysom has the ceiling. Jonnu gives you at least a floor with his reception volume. I actually maybe take Taysom, though. And that maybe you actually see the expanded role of Taysom with no Michael Thomas if they're forced to use him a little more, right? If you have no Michael Thomas, maybe Taysom has a little bit of a larger role, especially coming out of the bye week. Maybe they get creative. Adrian says, pick one for the flex, happy BR. Bijan, Jacobs, Javonte, and Thielen. I personally am going to go ahead and I'm going to take Bijan Robinson, but I personally could not be more biased. Scar Shiesty says, DJ Moore or Tank is a wide receiver too. Standard scoring. Thank you. Thank you. We're going to go with the wide receiver in the better offense. We're going to go with Tank Dell. Tank Dell, must start guy. High scoring game. Great offense. And at the same time, I mean, this is a spot where you have no Noah Brown. So you should have the target volume pretty much guaranteed, right? Pretty much guaranteed. Now, Shane says, need upside in a full BBR format. Downs, Connor, or Demario Douglas. We will go ahead. I'm going to take James Conner. Give me James Conner. Full BBR format. I think you make an argument for Josh Downs. But it is what it is. It is what it is. Now, Steven says, sup, Mace? Go UT. Hug 'em horns, my friend. Need your help with my last two flexes. One has to be a wide receiver / tight end. PBR and point per carry. So, okay, so we're definitely going to want to get at least one running back in here. Kincaid, London, Spears, Chandler, Atwell, Rondale Moore. So, obviously, we assume this is a Derrick Henry game, but if this is a point per carry format, I probably actually go through and play Tajee Spears in one of these flexes. And in the other flex, well, typically I'd say I never want to go through and play a tight ends. I do think that we go Kincaid over London. I think we go Kincaid over London. If it wasn't for the point per carry aspect, we would just play both of those options. But with it being a point per carry, I think we go Tajee Spears instead of London. Now, Thomas says Joshua Dobbs or Rashee Rice. So I'm assuming this for the super flex spot. Yeah, we'll go Joshua Dobbs easily, right? Even if you have no Jefferson. Now, Vowed on Film says, have BBR single flex. Puka, Ridley, or Warren. We're going to go Puka. Full BBR start 3. Puka, Ridley, Warren, Javonte, or Addison. We're going to go with Puka, Ridley, and Javonte. So I am excited about Jaylen Warren as well. Obviously, Jaylen Warren's looked great over the past few weeks. And hopefully with Matt Canada getting fired, Jaylen Warren continues to expand his role. We'll see. I'm really hoping it happens. I mean, Jaylen Warren looks 10 times better than Najee Harris. I'm sure if all of us here were in charge of the running back usage, I'm sure we would all go through and play Jaylen Warren over Najee Harris about 75% of the time at minimum. But the reality of the situation is they've been splitting the backfield 50-50 all year. Mike Tomlin said it's probably going to continue to happen. So I don't think that Jaylen Warren is some must-start option, even if he is exciting. Even if he is exciting. And ladies and gentlemen, we are one like away from hitting 400 likes on this live stream. Please, if you have not done so already, Hit that like button. I mean, we have live streamed for 213 days in a row, but Sunday morning streams are by far and away the most important for us. So if you're ever going to hit that like, please do it now. And if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And code FLOCK's also going to get you a Lamar Jackson special pick'em more than less than half a total yard for tonight's game as well. But Batman Gaming coming out says, pick 3 in a PBR format. Godwin, Flowers, Amari, and DJ Moore. We're going to go Godwin, Flowers, and Moore. I mean, if you look at what you have with the expectations for these receivers, Amari Cooper right now, because Dorian Thompson's only at 172.5 passing yards first projection, Amari's at 43.5 receiving yards. Whereas if you go and look at what you have with Zay Flowers, they have Flowers at 71.5. We're looking at 43 versus 71. Massive, massive gap. You have to bench Amari there. Isaac says, start 1, White, Bijan. We're going to start Bijan relatively easily. Don't think you have to roll the dice with the White injury there. And then sit 1, Kupp, Puka, Pittman. Ooh. So Pittman's for sure going to be the play. It's what we have between the Rams wide receivers. I would say that we probably play Kupp. If you look at the Underdog pick'ems, they have Kupp as the wide receiver 1 as well. I'll say this, though. I would not fault anybody for playing Puka over Kupp. If you really wanted to do it, you do you. Just make sure we're playing Pittman. And then outside of that, I kind of think it is up to you, my friend. Robert says, 12-team full PBR. We need a second receiver and a flex. Evans, Tank Dell, and or Puka. Tank Dell going to be a must-start guy. Now, if we had no Cooper Kupp, I think that we could easily say, let's play Puka over Mike Evans. I think it'd be an easy call. However, that's not the case. We have Kupp playing. So if Kupp is playing, I think between Puka and Mike Evans, it's very close. Honestly, I do think that it's up to you. Just please make sure you're playing Tank Dell with no Noah Brown in one of the best offenses in the NFL. Alex says, we got to pick 3. Likely McBride, Tajee, Ty Chandler, Odell, and Shaheed. So we're going to go McBride for damn sure. Then outside of that, I'm probably going to go Shaheed with no Michael Thomas. So McBride, Shaheed, and the between likely Tajee Spears, Ty Chandler, and Odell. Operating under the assumption that it is a full PPR format, I think we will go Odell Beckham Jr. Odell is good to go. They're saying he's pretty much fully healthy. You have no Mark Andrews. You have a good matchup. The passing volume should be there. I feel confident in telling you to go McBride. The Odell called, not so much, but I do think that he has upside. So we will go ahead and we will take Odell there. Now that you have no Mark Andrews. Steven says, PBR, Freiermuth, Johnny, or Hunter Henry. I don't like it, but I probably go ahead and I probably just play Hunter Henry. I mean, he's averaging about 4 or 5 targets per game over the past 3 weeks. I really hope Pat Freiermuth shows us a lot this week. I really hope Pat Freiermuth goes out there and crushes it. But until we see something from Pat Freiermuth, we can't start him. I still think he has the upside. I still think that you can probably go through and roster him. Just I don't think we can start him until we see otherwise. Now, True Player says, pick 1, Hopkins, Odell, if he plays. We're going to go Hopkins no matter what. And then Dortch, Herbert, Zay Jones. Oh, yeah, we're going to go Hopkins no matter what, especially if you have no Traylon Burks. I mean, with no Traylon Burks, you'd have a considerable amount of target volume guaranteed here for DeAndre Hopkins. Okay. Now, Isaac says, is Baltimore a top option this week for a DST? I don't want to say they're a top option. Obviously, it's not the best matchup going up against Herbert. Now, with that being said, Baltimore has a phenomenal defense. It's not like Herbert has all his weapons, yada, yada, yada. So I would still play the Baltimore defense. I just don't think that we can call them like one of the best options here, right? Now, Richie says PBR for the flex, White, Sutton, Hollywood, or Addison. So I'm a little bit concerned with Rachaad White based off him getting the downgrade late in the week. But with that being said, I'll still probably take Rachaad White here. Still probably go Rachaad White. King Greg says, who are we firing up this week? Devonta Godwin or Jerome Ford? I'm going to go with Smith. Ford in a horrible offense, split in the backfield, not much interest. Godwin's getting volume. He's just not really doing anything with it. Now, CR says we lost Andrews. Do we ride Taysom likely or trade Javonte for Kincaid? Slightly worried about the Knox return. Other running backs are Kamara, Kyron, Barkley. If Javonte's arguably our RB5 here, trade Javonte and go get Dalton Kincaid. I'm not super concerned about Dawson Knox coming back into this offense. I think that you can make that swap. Adam says, full point PBR, need some advice. We have Hollywood and Amari with Jefferson needed as my last wide receiver spot. Should we give up on Amari or Hollywood and pick up Demario Douglas? If I win this week, I'm on a lock for the playoffs. I would go Hollywood and Amari over Demario Douglas. I mean, I can't tell you, oh yeah, Amari's in a horrible offense, so play Demario Douglas over him. No, Demario Douglas is in a horrible offense as well. Now, if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to take Douglas over Justin Jefferson, with the way this is worded, I don't know exactly if we are starting Jefferson right now. I wouldn't fault you for that. One thing that'd be interesting, though, is if you are holding out any hope that Jefferson may play on Monday night, which right now I'm doubting he does, to be honest with you. But if you think that he may, and you are excited, you want to hold out hope that he may play. If you look at what you have with KJ Osborne with no Justin Jefferson may be just as compelling as Demario Douglas in the first place, or maybe only slightly worse. So if you were wanting to roll the dice that Jefferson plays and your other option is Demario Douglas, I'm not going to fault you if you have the backup where we can pick up KJ Osborne off waivers if that does fail. Now, Kidrick says, full BBR, we got to start two. Ridley, Puka, Kyron, and Ramondre. I'm going to go with Puka and Kyron. I will say I'm a little bit hesitant with Kyron coming back from the injury, though. I would rather see Kyron before we played him, but honestly, in this range, I think you can do it. Now, the real Superman says, 8-team at BBR, I need an RB2, two running backs and a flex. JT, Eckler, Kyron, Gus, Ridley, Flowers, and Taysom. So we're going to be going JT, Eckler relatively easily. And then for our flex spot, we are going to go ahead. We will take Kyron Williams as well. Like I said, I'm going to be a little bit hesitant when we are looking at Kyron Williams here. But I think you can play him in this range. Now, Robert, happy to see us, says, full BBR, Ingram or McBride, and another one, McBride or Kincaid. So you have a pretty good matchup for Trey McBride here. Plus, if you are looking at the injuries that you have in Arizona with no Michael Wilson and with Hollywood Brown being banged up, I mean, I think you make a strong argument that you're in a really good spot to just go ahead and play Trey McBride. So I'm definitely going to go McBride over Evan Ingram, even though I do like Evan Ingram. I think all these tight ends are pretty damn good. I probably go McBride in both instances with the Hollywood injury, even with Hollywood playing. However, with that being said, if you wanted to go with Kincaid over him, I'm not going to fault you at all for that. Not going to fault you at all for it. Now, Landon says, start 2, full BBR. Hunt, Khalil Herbert, Robert Woods, Chandler, Jerry Jeudy, Elijah Moore, Chuba Hubbard. Thanks for what you do, bro. No, thank you so much for being a member of the flock. I think that we are going to go ahead. We are going to be playing Khalil Herbert with no Deonta Foreman. Jerry Jeudy does have a very tough matchup. Judy's also been horrendous. Robert Woods, I mean, obviously, you have upside just because the offense that you're in, but it's not like Woods himself is inspiring in the slightest. I think you have to play Khalil Herbert. Outside of that, I'm throwing my hands in the air and saying I have no idea. I probably take Chuba Hubbard. He still projects out to be the lead back in Carolina. But it's not like I'm super excited about it, right? I mean, if you do look at Chuba, he did kind of split this back to old Miles Sanders this past week. Now, David says, flex standard scoring, James Cook, Zay, or Amari Cooper. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take James Cook. If that's Zay Jones, if that's Zay Flowers, I can go Zay Flowers. Ethan says, we need a receiver and a flex. Kyron, Swift, Chase, Dell. Our wide receiver, we're going to be going with Dell, and our flex is going to be your call between DeAndre Swift and Jamar Chase. I kind of want to say Chase. If you look at the underdog pick'ems, though, they'll say it's Swift easily. Gloom says, love the content, man. Thank you. Who do we start, Rice or London? So Rice, you're going to give the bump up considering the fact that you have no Tony. At the same time, not only do you have no Tony, but you have no McCole Hardman. So I think you have an argument to be made that Rice could see that breakout week this week. However, I'll just take the guy that we've seen the production from, right? I think we will just go ahead and we'll take Drake London until we have that Rice full-blown breakout. Square Baba says, pick one for the flex, Moore, Bijan, or Kupp. I'm the wrong guy to ask, but I'm going to go Bijan Robinson. I think maybe someone that's smarter than me would say Cooper Kupp if it's a full BBR format, but I personally have a very hard time getting away from Bijan. Hookamorans, of course. Now, Born Wizard says, start 2 running backs. James Cook, Najee Harris, Devin Singletary, or Khalil Herbert. So Khalil Herbert does get the bump up if you are looking at no Deonta Foreman. I still probably go James Cook and Devin Singletary. If you wanted to go with Herbert over Singletary, though, this week, until we see what the Dameon Pierce workload looks like, I'm not going to fault you for it. Now, Michael says, PBR, 1 running back, 2 flex. Kirk, Saquon, Flowers, Downs, and Kyron. I'm going to be going with Saquon at running back. And then for our 2 flex spots, I think we're going to be going with Kyron Williams and Zay Flowers. And Vince has our next question. Please tell me I don't have to go to the other page, and then I'm going to be good here. Give me 1 second to find this. And as I do, ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, please go down there. We're 2 likes away from hitting 500 likes on this live stream. Hit that like button. We live stream every single day. Have not missed a day since April, but Sunday morning streams are by far and away the most important for us. So if you're ever going to hit that like button, please do it now. And also, if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog, if you want to say, Mason, this is ludicrous. Of course, Devin Singletary is going to have 10 fantasy points. You can say so on Underdog. Promo code FLOCK's going to give you a 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And on top of that, ladies and gentlemen, a Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard as well. So please make sure you are taking advantage of that. Now, Michael says, no, I'm sorry. We just answered Michael's question. Vince has our next question. Start Amari or Gabe Davis. I think we are going to go ahead. We will take Amari, even if Davis is the higher ceiling. And then the Vikings, Giants, Patriots, or Broncos defense. The Giants are still at the very bottom of the NFL with their implied team total, so I'm honestly just going to play the New England defense. I mean, you can't go wrong with any of these options, but I still want to be attacking this Giants offense over and over and over again. Now, Chima says, non-PBR, Nico or Jerome Ford for the flex spot. Non-PBR format, a little bit less guaranteed, but I still think that we want to go ahead. We want to take Nico Collins. Mike says, 10-team PBR, Love, Goff, Eckler, Ford, Kamara, Jacobs, Charbonnet, Allen, DK Davis, Pickens, Jefferson, McBride. Should we trade Allen and Kamara for Etienne, Kupp, and Hopkins? Kamara to Etienne upgrade. Keenan to Kupp downgrade. We're picking up Hopkins as well. I think it's a fair deal if you wanted to. I mean, the only thing is don't feel like you need to do it to go out there and get DeAndre Hopkins, right? Especially as we're about to get Jefferson back in. The depth's not going to matter too much for this team. I think it's a very fair deal, and you can make the trade if you'd like. Baz says, Happy BR, should we flex Bijan or Puka? I'm the wrong guy to ask. Could not be more biased. Hogan Morans, we're going to go Bijan Robinson. If Kupp wasn't playing, I would say, you know what? I probably got to throw in the towel, and I probably got to say Puka, but still. Now, Hamilton says, a full BBR for the flex. Ridley, Javonte Ramadre, or Jalen Warren. I think you can make a strong argument for Ridley if you're buying into the Zay Jones splits. I'm just a little bit cautious to do it. Javonte has the guaranteed workload. Javonte also at the same time has a very bad matchup. I'm not playing Warren. It's either down between Javonte or Ridley. And I do think it's up to you. I think it comes down to, are you buying into the fact that Calvin Ridley is magically an elite level wide receiver in the game Zay Jones plays? Zero says, Stroud or Lamar, who are we going to sit? If it is a 6-point passing touchdown format, I'm going to start CJ Stroud. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, I'm going to start Lamar Jackson. Dang Shoot says, adding picks to the calculator. Yes, sir. Should be done any day now. And then Komet, Njoku, or Taysom Hill. So David Njoku had 15 targets this past week, right? It's kind of crazy. It's obviously a very bad offense at the same time. I'd probably go Cole Kmet, but it's going to be something that we want to continue to monitor because there is that outside chance that this rookie quarterback just latches onto the tight end. David Njoku is just funnel targets through the rest of the season. Now, Adam says, flex full BBR. We need one. Cook, Connor, Javonte. Thank you again for a great season. One win, we lock in a playoff spot. Thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my friend. We will go ahead. We'll take James Conner. I like the offense. I like the matchup. I like the game environments. If you're looking at Cook, pretty damn tough matchup. And if you're looking at what you have with Javonte, I'd say even worse matchup, right? So yeah, I mean, we don't really have much interest in attacking the Eagles' rush defense or the Browns' rush defense. Now, Baby Cal coming out saying, Happy BR, Kirk, Downs, Flowers, wide receiver 2 in a flex. We're going to go Kirk and Flowers. Even if Downs was my second most drafted wide receiver in Underdog drafts this year, he's helping us print some money here, and I hope he continues, but still got to go with Kirk and Flowers. And then start Jacobs. Okay, so no, never mind. We're going to go Flowers and Jacobs in that case. If you're telling me that we can go through and we can put Jacobs in the flex, but you still probably got to go Jacobs, even in a tough matchup. John says, K-Dotton or Isaiah Likely at tight ends. I'm going to go K-Dotton. Isaiah Likely is exciting and obviously does have some upside here. But, I mean, it can't hurt to at least see Isaiah Likely do something before we start him, right? I know a lot of people started him week 1, and obviously the man just did absolutely nothing. And then double flex for the other league between Ramadre, Jacobs, Warren, Charbonnet. Or would you trade Achane for Hawk? If you're 4-7, then yeah, probably. If these are other running backs, because even if we're selling some of the long-term upside here, if you're 4-7, we're not really in a position to be holding on to an injured guy. Just send up a prayer when he comes back, right? Probably just need to go out there and get someone that's going to produce right this second. Now, Spencer says, PBR pick 3. Adams, Thielen, Nico, and Olave. If we have to bench someone here, I'm probably going to be benching Chris Olave. It is tough. I mean, I honestly did not draft that much Nico Collins this year, and I'm kicking myself for doing so. Like, I have more Chris Olave than I do Nico Collins. But I don't know. I mean, with Nico, it's hard to get away from him. You have no Noah Brown. You have one of the best offenses in the NFL. I probably have to start him. JB says that we're going to start Chase or Jacobs in the flex. Full BBR format, give me Chase. Gabriel says, Nico, Puka, Flowers, Ridley. We got to pick 2 in a full PPR league. I'm going to go with Puka and Nico, even if Flowers is getting the bump up with no Mark Andrews. I'll tell you, if you look at the Underdog Pick'ems, they will tell you to go Zay Flowers, though. I'd rather see it before we got to believe it there. Jordan says, full BBR pick 2. Collins, Ridley, Flowers, and Ford. I think I'm going to go ahead and take Nico Collins. Benching Ford for sure. Between Ridley, Flowers, I can kind of go back and forth. I probably end up going Ridley. But you can make a strong argument for Flowers. Like we said, I mean, it's hard for me to look at this and see Underdog has Zay Flowers at 71.5 total yards. Now, it's easy for me to say take the fewer than for 71.5 total yards for Zay Flowers. But it also tells us that this is probably someone we want to start, right? I was probably too low on him in our rankings this week. So pick Collins, and then between Ridley, Flowers, it's up to you. Now, Ryan says, Kyler or Lawrence? I'm going to go Kyler. And then Kyron or Javonte? I will go Kyron despite the injury concerns, but primarily because Javonte has the horrible matchup, right? Now, Kelvin says, full BBR pick 2, Pacheco, Olave, or Kyron Williams. I'm going to go with Pacheco and Olave with the injury concerns for Kyron. Max says, start Devonta Smith or Zay Flowers. I'm going to go Smith. You have no Dallas Goedert as well in Philly, and I'm just more confident with their offense overall. Okay. Now, MCM says, start 1, Downs, Rice, or Sutton in a half PPR format. I know most people are going to say Courtland Sutton. People are going to get mad that I'm not saying Courtland Sutton here with how good Sutton has been. But Sutton is running as pure as the sun, has been about inefficient as you could ever ask for. I mean, if you look at the pick'ems that you have right now, Currently, you have Cortland Sutton at, I want to say, a 2x multiplier to score a touchdown this week. And 45.5 receiving yards. It's a horrible matchup going up against Cleveland. If you go over and compare this to where you have Josh Downs. Josh Downs is at only a 1.5x multiplier to score a touchdown. And he's had 48.5 receiving yards. So I mean, obviously everybody's going to run and go Sutton there, but I kind of want to go Josh Downs if I'm going to be honest with you. Because the matchup's horrible for Sutton, and I think that he does regress, at least with this touchdown rate. Now, Trey says, full BBR pick 2, Dell, Chase, Warren, and Kincaid. We're going to go Dell, Chase. Not going to overthink that one. That one's easy. Now, Pai Tai says, pick 1, full BBR, Davis, Deontay, or Jacoby Myers. I will go Deontay Johnson and send up a prayer that Matt Canada leaving this offense makes the Pittsburgh offense better overall. Now, Thomas says 10-team PBR double flex. We have Mahomes, Pollard, Madison, Smith, Deontay, Kelsey, Douglas, Reed, JSN, Palmer. Trade Smith and Kelsey for A.J. Brown and Sam Laporta. A.J. Brown to Travis Kelsey kind of is going to be up to you there. Devonta Smith, Sam Laporta, I'd kind of say the same thing as well. So I think it's close. I do think it's up to you. I think I can use it a tiebreaker that if we have Patrick Mahomes, I'd probably rather just have the Kelsey stack. It's close, and ultimately you can do whatever you want there. But if we have Mahomes, I'm just going to keep Kelsey. Daniel says, should we start Kyler or Herbert this week? I'm going to go Kyler now that you have Hollywood Brown good to go. I mean, Herbert, you just have a brutal matchup here, right? It is about the worst matchup you could ask for. Now, Chris says, happy BR, Puka or Nico Collins today. Thank you. Thank you, my friend. I think I am going to end up going Puka. You can make a strong argument to go Nico Collins, though, with no Noah Brown. I think it's close. I personally probably go Puka, though. The Notorious One says, should we play Hollywood or Connor in the flex? I'm going to go Connor relatively easily with the Hollywood injury concerns we had earlier in the week. Manborg says, need to bench one PPR. Dell, Chase, Mixon, and Swift. Worried about the snap count for Swift with an injury. I mean, Swift was cleared to good to go very early in the week. I'm not too concerned about the DeAndre Swift injury. I mean, full BBR format, I think kind of bench a running back here. So if you wanted to go Swift, if you wanted to bench Swift instead of Mixon, you do you. I personally probably just bench Joe Mixon with how bad the offense is. Nabi says, a full BBR, we need a flex. Kyron, Javonte, or Zay Flowers. Underdog Pickens would say to go Zay Flowers. I'm probably going to go Kyron Williams here. Definitely can't play Javonte in this range, just considering how bad this matchup is going up against the Browns. But I think we can go ahead and we can play Kyron Williams. So just roll the dice with the injury. Boomer Sooner coming out says, Hoka Morris, my friend. Please, please. As beat OSU. Wish we could have had a rematch, sir. I know. I was talking to, let me know what y'all think about this. I am not a college football expert, but I was talking to a Texas buddy and I was asking, like, wouldn't we want Oklahoma, after we lose to Oklahoma, wouldn't we want OU to play well through the rest of the season, have like a top 10 rank, and then we get to play them again and beat them in the Big 12 championship? Doesn't that like make our resume for the college playoffs a little bit better? So I was actually rooting for y'all, my friend. I wanted to play y'all so we could beat you and hopefully have a little bit of a better resume. But it is what it is. It is what it is. But full BBR, White, Adams, Kincaid, Herbert, Gus, or hope for Justin Jefferson. I think I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to play Devontae Adams. I agree. I think with Rachaad White, if he was fully healthy, if he never popped up on the injury report, yeah, we'd go White, right? But with that being said, I mean, him getting downgraded late in the week does just make me a little worried here. I think we can just go ahead and play Devontae Adams and not worry about it. I don't love the matchup with Adams, though. Now, Cheyenne says, PBR, can Cade Hawkinson on bye next week? Who's a good tight end pickup? Let's go ahead and let's pull this up. If Frymuth got dropped, maybe you could pick up Frymuth and see if he does anything this week. Okay. Who else has a decent setup? Johnny's going to be going up against the Jets. I don't know how excited you are about that. If someone dropped Ferguson, maybe go Ferguson, maybe go Taysom going up against Detroit. Yeah, there aren't too many options here, my friend. Musgrave's banged up. Kate Otten goes up against Carolina if you want to go in that direction. Now, box card says DST, Vikings, Saints, Titans, Patriots, or Bengals. I'm probably going to go ahead. I'm probably going to play the Patriots DST. In my mind, it's just hard to find a better matchup than what you were going to have going up against the New York Giants. The Giants are still at the bottom of the NFL with their implied team total. Vegas is still telling us it's the worst offense in the league. So despite the Giants kind of piecing it together last week, I still want to be attacking them where we can. Okay. Jeremiah says PBR Chuba or Najee Harris. Okay. I'm going to go, oh my gosh. Both running backs are in committees. Both running backs are in bad offenses. Looking at the usage of what we had in Carolina this past week, I mean, Chuba did split the backfield 50-50 with Miles Sanders. So with that being the case, I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to play Najee Harris and hope this offense is better with no Matt Canada. I mean, even if it's a short-term bump, you see this a lot where if a team gets rid of a coach that the players don't like, the next week you get that bump up where they're great, you know. So I'm going to go Najee and hope that is good. Now, Freddie says, PBR, we need one for the flex. Singletary, Rice, Keaton Mitchell, and Drake London. I will go Singletary in this range, even if we are worried about Dameon Pierce coming back into this offense and turning it into a committee. Caleb says, PBR, Stroud, CMC, Eckler, JT, Kyron, Ramondre, Chase, Jefferson, DK, Downs, Laporta, McBride. Would you trade Kyron and Laporta for Tank for the stack? So, I mean, obviously, we have a loaded up team where we can afford to sell Laporta. We can afford to sell Kyron. Tank Dell would stack up with CJ Stroud. So I understand where you're coming from. I would just say that we probably need a little bit more. Yeah. So I like the idea. I understand where you're coming from, but no, I would not make the deal. I think you are overpaying. Mel Bailey says, good morning, my friend. PBR, we need one. Flowers, London, or Douglas. We will go with Zay Flowers with no Mark Andrews with a good matchup against the Chargers. Warren, Downs, Odell. Here, I think you can go Jalen Warren. I'm not super pumped about Jalen Warren this week. I do think that you are going to have this still be a committee with Najee Harris. So I don't view him as that must-start option. But if we're comparing him to these secondary wide receivers, I mean, there's not much downside in just playing Jaylen Warren. And we need to between Hollywood, Amari, James Cook, Deontay. I'm going to go with James Cook for sure. And then I'm actually going to go Deontay Johnson over Hollywood Brown. I mean, with Hollywood, if he never popped up on the injury report, if he was never in question to go this week, I would easily play Hollywood Brown over Deontay Johnson. But with how things have gone, where Deontay popped up, got downgraded late in the week, that's typically something that we are looking to avoid. And you do have a little bit of a bump up with Deontay Johnson, considering the fact that you have no Matt Canada. So yeah, I'm going to go Deontay over Hollywood, even though I know that's probably laughable and will probably be making fun of me later today for saying that, and you have every right to, my friend. But yeah, I think we will. But yeah, again, thank you so much for always being out and hanging out with us. Timeout Sports, always happy to see you as well. Says, good morning, Mason. Non-BBR, we need one running back in a flex. Between White, Connor, Hunt, Gabe Davis, Hollywood. Thank you as always. Appreciate you. Thank you. Non-BBR format, Connor's going to be the easy guy to roll with here. For the other spot, it will be tougher, right? Because Rachaad White would have been easy if he never got downgraded, but he did. So Rachaad White got downgraded later in the week. I am kind of looking to avoid him where we can, but I don't think we can afford to avoid Rachaad White in this range. It's not like I can tell you, oh, Rachaad White's got downgraded late in the week, so let's go ahead and let's avoid him due to an injury concern and play Hollywood Brown instead. No, you're doing the same thing with Hollywood. Now, Maloney Kid says, start two at BBR. Bijan, Kyron, and Nico. I'm going to go Bijan for sure. Between Kyron and Nico, it is going to be close and up to you. I'd probably go Nico this week, Kyron a long term. Considering the fact you have no Noah Brown and Kyron, maybe you have to be a little bit concerned with an injury. Now, Freddie says, 6-point passing touchdown. Strouder Fields, thank you, Mason. Thank you, my friend. 6-point passing touchdown league. I'm going to go Stroud with the rushing upside will matter a little bit less there. Colby says, McBride or Kincaid, we have Kyler for the stack. So most weeks, I would actually go ahead and I would tell you to go with Kincaid over McBride. But if Hollywood is banged up, if you have no Michael Wilson, if you have Kyler for the stack, I think you can go ahead and you can take McBride. Wingless Crib says, full BBR, Kyron or James Conner for an RB2 spot. I'm going to go James Conner. I think in a full BBR format, you can make a strong argument long-term to go Kyron Williams with him having a little more of a receiving role. But I would rather at least see Kyron first before we had to go through and make that call. Now, Andy says, Devontae Adams, Rice, Connor, Madison. We got to pick two. I'm going to be going with Adams and Connor. And then between the Denver or Pittsburgh defense, I don't know what TIA means, but I think I'm going to go ahead and take Denver in a good matchup against Cleveland. Josh says, a full BBR, we need a running back, a wide receiver, and a flex. Kamara, Kyron, Ridley, Nico, Josh Jacobs. Thanks. Keep up the great work. Thank you, my friend. Our running back, we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Kamara. Our wide receiver, we're going to go Nico Collins. And then for our flex, we will go ahead and we'll take Josh Jacobs. I think make an argument for Kyron over Jacobs in the long term based off offenses, but I'm not doing it this week, not until we see Kyron. Now, J-Man says, pick two, Ridley, Kupp, or Devonta Smith. I'm going to go Kupp and Smith, and I'm not thinking about it too much. Saint Sear says, James Cook or Ty Chandler in the flex. We're going to go James Cook relatively easily. Ty Chandler has zero appeal for me. Jason says, do we start Kyler or Lawrence? Now that Hollywood's good to go, if it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, I'm going to go Kyler over Lawrence. Now, YY says, a full BBR 10-team league. We have Mahomes, Kyler, Mixon, Pollard, Ford, Stevenson, Hubbard, Warren. Then Allen, St. Brown, Chase, Flowers, JSN, Kincaid, Waller. What should our lineup be? Okay. I'm going to go Mahomes over Kyler. Or running backs, I'm assuming we already started Pollard. Should have been Mixon and Pollard. Our wide receiver, I'm going to assume we already started Amon-Ra St. Brown. And in that case, we're going to go Keenan, Amon-Ra St. Brown, then Chase for the flex. And then at tight end, we're going to go Kincaid. And then the Browns defense is obviously a fine option with them being one of the best defenses in the NFL. And it's not like they have a super tough matchup going up against Russ here. Now, our next question coming out from Saram, happy to see us, says, who to play in the flex, Shaheed, Gabe, Hunt, or Freeman? So Freeman, not interesting for me now that we have Kyron Williams coming back in. If we're looking at Shaheed, Gabe, Hunt, I think Gabe has the highest ceiling. Shaheed maybe has the highest floor with no Michael Thomas. I mean, he had 9 targets last week. I'm probably going to go ahead. I'll probably take Gabe Davis for the ceiling. But I think you can make an argument to go Shaheed if you really wanted. Now, Marty says, happy BR, we got to pick 2. Dell, Mixon, DJ Moore, or Cooper Kupp. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Dell for damn sure. Then the other spot would be between Kupp and Joe Mixon. I think that you have a higher floor with Mixon, given the overall usage. I think you have a higher ceiling with Kupp, given their respective offenses. Just don't play DJ Moore. Make sure you play Tank Dell. And then between Joe Mixon and Cooper Kupp, I do think that it's up to you. Casey says we need a receiver and a flex. Henry, Chase, and Dell. If it is a full PPR format, I'll go with both wide receivers. If it is a non-PPR league, we will go Derrick Henry in the flex. And instead, we will play Dell at wide receiver. Dylan says we started Dak over Mahomes this week. Full PPR, start 2 receivers. Evans, Moore, Smith, Amari, Hollywood. Start 1 flex, Connor Warren, and the leftover wide receivers. Crazy call with Dak over Mahomes, my friend. Crazy call. But we will go ahead. We will take Evans and Smith at wide receiver. And then for the flex, I think we will go James Conner. If you didn't want to go James Conner and you wanted to go with another receiver, I think you would go DJ Moore. But Amari, not interesting with how bad the offense is. And it's an easy spot to go through and avoid Hollywood based off him being downgraded late in the week. Now, Wilson says, full BBR, Deontay or Hollywood Brown. We are going to go ahead and we will take Deontay Johnson here. Sidekick says, start a running back, 2 receivers, and a flex. Between White, Kamara, Bijan, Keaton, Diggs, Rice, DJ Moore. Also should be worried about White with the pop-up injury. Yes, I am worried about Rachaad White. For Rachaad White to get downgraded later in the week, I'm not saying that you cannot start Rachaad White. Obviously, White is someone that's exciting in general. It's just a spot where I would rather be a little bit hesitant. Running back, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to be taking Kamara. And for the flex, Bijan Robinson. And then for our 2 wide receivers, we're going to go ahead. We are going to take Diggs and DJ Moore. So go Kamara, Bijan, Diggs, and DJ Moore. Now, Colton says non-PPR, 10-team, double flex, pick 4. Jacobs, Thielen, Olave, Puka, Moore. So essentially, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have to bench one of these options. If I had to bench someone here, non-PPR format, full PPR league, maybe it'd be a little bit different. But in a non-PPR format, I think DJ Moore would be the guy that I look to bench. And then also Justin Herbert or Justin Fields. Thanks, Mando. Thank you. If it is a 6-point passing touchdown format, I'm going to say we're going to go with Herbert despite the matchup. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown league and you wanted to go ahead and in a 4-point passing touchdown format, just take the rushing upside of Justin Fields. I'm not going to fault you for it. Obviously, it's a very tough matchup for Herbert going up against the Ravens. Gabriel says, we got to flex 1. Douglas, Warren, Addison. I'm going to go with Addison, assuming that Jefferson does not play. Also, do we send Chase away for Waddle in a throw-in piece such as Kenneth Walker? I would rather have Chase over Waddle. It really does depend on that secondary piece there. If you're telling me the piece is going to be like Kenneth Walker, then yeah, I probably make the move. If the piece is like Kenneth Walker, then yeah. Andres says, should we sit Kupp? We have Puka, can replace for Ridley. No, I'd play Kupp over Ridley. Obviously, you're taking on risk, but you'd be taking on risk playing Ridley as well. Now, Wobbit says, need to start 2. Russ, Stafford, or Baker. I'm going to go Stafford and Baker. If you're looking at Russ, while he's been great, while they are winning, I don't want to say he's been great. While he's been winning football games, he does have a very tough matchup going up against Cleveland, where I think it's pretty hard to get super, super excited about that. Jerma, always happy to see you. Says, good morning, flock. Been a while. Need help in all leagues. First place, 7-4. Second, we're in 6th. 7th, the last one, we're in 10th. Conflicted on quarterback, running back. Baker Wilson. I'm going to go Baker over Russ, given the matchup Russ has against the Browns. And then Mixon Connor. If it is a non-PPR format, I think that you go ahead. I think that you just take the guy that has more touchdown upside. And in my mind, he's going to be playing in the better offense in James Conner. If it is a full PPR league, however, you do have the receiving usage of Joe Mixon, and the overall volume does matter just a little bit more. So if it is a non-PPR format, I think you make a strong argument to go ahead and take, PPR, then you make an argument for Mixon. Non-PPR, then you make an argument for Connor. Now, C says, Nico, Singletary, Kupp in the flex, half PPR, starting Tank Dell. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Cooper Kupp, and in this range, I think it's honestly pretty easy as well. I'm not going to be thinking about that one too much. August says, have to start 2 of Keenan, Dell, Kupp in a happy BR format. We're going to go with Keenan and Dell. I'm not really worried about starting Cooper Kupp. I am starting Cooper Kupp in the majority of the spots, but I mean, these other guys are just phenomenal. Now, the pacifier happy to see us says, PBR, Keaton Mitchell, Khalil Herbert, or a troubled Deontay at the flex. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Deontay in a full PBR format. I think this may be a little bit of a better situation now that you have no Matt Canada here. If it was a non-PBR league, I think you can make an argument to go ahead and take Khalil Herbert with no Deonta Foreman. But in a full PBR format, I think we want to go ahead and take Deontay. Jack says, have PBR start 2. Godwin, Sutton, Gabe, and Rashee Rice. I'm going to go Godwin for sure. And then with these other spots, it is much tougher. I probably go Sutton, but I'm not super excited about it with the matchup against Cleveland. Now, Bid Moon coming out with our next question, I believe. Give me 1 second to find this, ladies and gentlemen. And as I do this, please, if you have not done so already, go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We're 3 likes away from hitting 700 likes on this stream. We have live streamed every single day since April, 213 days in a row. But Sunday morning streams are by far and away the most important for us. So if you're ever going to hit that like button, please do it now. And also, if you wanted to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy for today, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick'em more than less than half a total yard as well, ladies and gentlemen. Now, Jack coming out saying, happy BR, we got to start too. Godwin, Sutton, Gabe, and Rashee Rice. I think I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take the combination of Godwin and Sutton. I believe we already answered this, though. Big Moon says, Smith or Chase, full PPR. Appreciate you, my friend. I will go Jamar Chase over Devonta Smith, especially now that we have no T. Higgins. I mean, it's tough with how bad one offense is supposed to be compared to the other. It's like 2 completely different situations, right? You have all the targets in one offense, but it's horrible. And you have a percentage of the targets in an elite offense. I will go with Chase, though. German says, other league, I'm 7-4 playing a 6-5 team. Conflicted on the wide receiver flex options. I'm starting Herbert, Chase, Kupp, ETN, JT, Kyron. We have Puka and Connor down on the bench. I think this is a great team, first of all. Second of all, I would go ahead and not play Puka here. I mean, I personally am going to go through and play Puka over Kyron Williams. If you look at what we have with Kyron Williams, so running back that we can be excited about, right? But ultimately, it can't hurt to just wait and see what we have and see him fully healthy. Now, Deadhead coming out saying, happy BR upside, pick 2. Evans, Dell, Puka, and Javonte. We're going to go Dell for sure. We're going to bench Javonte for sure. And then between Evans and Puka, if we had no Kupp, it would have been easily Puka. Now that Kupp's playing, it's going to be much tougher. I'm trying to think, my friend. Honestly, I have no idea between Evans and Puka. Really good spot where, honestly, these games should be pretty high scoring on both ends. You know, so I can't fault you if you wanted to go either way. Now, the Banana says, full BBR, we got to pick 1. Connor, Stevenson, Pacheco, and Kyron Williams. We probably go James Conner. Kyron Williams would be the answer in a full BBR format if we knew for sure that he was 100% healthy. But with McVay coming out saying that he's going to be a little bit conservative with the amount of snaps and touches that he's giving him, I think we just probably play it safe and go James Conner. And Sinted Army says, PBR, we need 1 for the flex. Douglas, Amari, Deontay, Jerry, Judy. We're going to go Deontay Johnson and hope that the offense gets better with Matt Canada out of here. Drago says, Walker out, Warren Keaton or Damian Pierce in a full PPR format. I will go Jalen Warren and hope that no Matt Canada means that they are going to end up using Jalen Warren just a little bit more than previously. Now, Zachary says, we need a win, PBR. Ridley or McBride at the flex. Thanks. Thank you. I mean, typically I never want to flex a tight end here, but McBride 100% is compelling given the matchup, plus the fact that you have no Michael Wilson and a banged up Hollywood. I probably go ahead. I probably still play Calvin Ridley. Just follow our rule when in doubt. You do not play the tight end in the flex spot, but it is close. Now, Gavon says 12 team, 3 wide receiver. We have Purdy, St. Brown, Diggs, Waddle, Hollywood, JT, Bijan, Ingram. Today was the last day of trades. Any trades to do before the deadline? Nothing that's super pressing. I think that you have a good team overall, especially in a league where you have to start 3 wide receivers. I mean, I would say that no, honestly, I think you're sitting on your hands, especially if today's the last day. Like, I don't want to go out there and rush to make a move when we don't need to. Devin says, full BBR, we go on Bijan or Swift today in a shootout, up 75-62. I'm projected 144. My opponent's projected 130. I'm thinking I need a ceiling. Worried about the Saints defense via Bijan off the bye. To be honest with you, my friend, if you're projected 144 and your opponent's projected 130, I would be a little more concerned about the floor than ceiling. I would go Bijan Robinson. Bijan Robinson fully healthy, coming out of the bye. I mean, Arthur Smith made it sound as well as if he was going to get Bijan a little bit more involved if you listen to the press conference earlier this week. Of course, I'm not the right guy to ask. Hugga Morans, I am very biased with Bijan Robinson. But I probably am going Bijan here, my friend. I am going to go Bijan. Now, Jeremy says, okay, full BBR, 2 receivers with Kupp playing. We have Puka, Smith, Deontay Ridley. I think we're going to go ahead. I think that we are going to keep this as is. I think you keep Puka and Devonta Smith in here. Hopefully Deontay Johnson in this overall offense is much better going forward. But if we have great options like this, you just simply don't have to roll the dice, right? Now, Jordan says, am I crazy to start Nico Collins over Devontae Adams? If it is a full BBR format, I personally probably just go ahead and take the guy with the guaranteed volume in Devontae Adams. However, with that being said, would I be shocked if Nico Collins outscored Adams? I want to be shocked, right? I mean, Nico Collins is in a much better offense. You have no Noah Brown and what should be a higher scoring game. So I would say that I'm still going to go Adams, but I'm not going to fault you at all if you wanted to go Nico Collins. Now, Torres says, hey, Mason, who should go with that quarterback today? Herbert or Kyler? Thanks. Thank you, my friend. Now that we have Hollywood Brown good to go, if it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, I'm probably going to go ahead and just take Kyler Murray with the rushing upside. And that if you do look at the matchups here, I mean, obviously you just have a brutal matchup for Herbert going up against the Baltimore Ravens. So yeah, I probably would go ahead and play Kyler if it's a 4-point passing touchdown league. Zach says, Kyler or Stroud? We're going to go Stroud easily. In the pick 2, Adams, Olave, Nico, or Addison. I'm going to go Adams and Nico, considering the fact that we're playing Stroud and you have no Noah Brown here. But if you wanted to go Olave over Nico, I'm not going to fault you for it. Because, I mean, with Olave, obviously, you have no Michael Thomas at the same time. Now, EC says Nico or Kupp, full BBR. Thanks, bro. Appreciate you, my friend. Very close. I probably end up going Cooper Kupp. Nico Collins, obviously, very compelling given the offense. Kupp's been bad for 4 weeks now, but It's just so hard to go through and bench Cooper Kupp, especially when now he's healthy. Now Stafford is healthy. And if you look at what we had through the first 3 weeks when that was the case, I mean, Kupp was crushing. Now, Abiel says, pick one full PBR for the flex. Pittman, Pacheco, Ridley, Puka. Also, should we start Pacheco over White at RB2? Okay. I would probably start Pacheco over White, just considering the fact that White got downgraded later in the week. And I'm a little bit concerned, where you don't have to be concerned at all with Pacheco. And then for the flex spot, it's really down between Pittman and Puka. We're not playing Ridley there. If White was fully good to go, I'm sorry, if Kupp was out, I think we would go Puka relatively easily. But I don't know. Kupp is good now. Pittman gives you a nice floor and ceiling combo. I probably go Pittman over Puka, but it is very close. I mean, if you look at the underdog pick'ems right now, they're actually about to show up. Puka's at 16.5 receiving yards, and they have Pittman at like 70. So they have Pittman as the better option as well. Now, Mr. Robinson says, PBR, wide receiver 2 and a flex. Between Downs, Sutton, or Addison. Also, the Bengals or Saints DST. I'm going to be going with Downs at wide receiver. And then between the Bengals and Saints DST, I'm probably going to be going with... you have no Lattimore. Let's go with the Saints, though. Let's go with the Saints. Big Moon says Singletary, Stevenson, or Cook in a happy BR format. Appreciate you, my friend. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play James Cook. Tough matchup, but good offense. And the thing with Singletary is I just have no idea what the workload's going to be with Dameon Pierce coming back in. I think that there is that outside chance that it is a running back by committee here. Now, Mark Word, always happy to see us, says, I love Waddle in the Jets defense. Oh my gosh, my friend. You sat our guy Waddle. Now who do we sit between Kupp, Puka, JT, Kamara? Actually, it's fine with Waddle going up against the Jets D. We have Kupp sitting in at PBR. Much love, go Knowles. I was honestly rooting against your Knowles last night. Hook 'em horns, trying to find a way into the playoffs, my friend. But I would say that I personally probably sit Olave. If you wanted to sit Kupp, completely fine with it. I understand where you're coming from as well. But I would probably rather just sit Olave. James says, you've been helping me for a few years now, currently on a 9-game win streak. Thank you so much for being a member of the flock, my man. Could use your perspective. We got to pick 2. Kyron, Pittman, Dell. Thanks. Thank you. I think long-term, you can make a strong argument to go ahead and play Kyron over a few of these names. However, right now, I cannot do it. Right now, I think you have to go Pittman and Tank Dell until we see Kyron fully healthy. Flock Soldier says, Hook'em, my boy, happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, my friend. Full BBR, need to start 2. Kirk, Ridley, Hopkins, Myers, and a tight end, Komet or Taysom. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Honestly, it was phenomenal Thanksgiving. I hope y'all had a great one as well. I'm going to go with Komet. And then for our 2 receivers, you're going to be going with... You can play both Jags guys, or you can go Kirk and Hopkins. Just make sure we're not playing Myers here. But if you wanted to say that this Jags offense was going to be great, and this was going to be a very high scoring game, which it very easily could be. I mean, I wouldn't fault you if you wanted to go through and start both of the Jacksonville wide receivers. Now, Jaden says, PBR, who at the flex? We have Singletary, Rice, Deontay, Najee, or Shaheed. I will go with Singletary here, even if I am a little bit concerned about Dameon Pierce coming back in. We need upside in a must-win game. We're 5-6, starting Hurts, White, Charbonnet, Keenan, Smith, and Njoku. We lost Oh my gosh, this is a team that is. I'm surprised you were 5-6. We lose Andrews. We lost Jefferson and we lost Achan. That's impressive. Just it's still being 5-6 here. Corrigan says, how consider Javonte in the flex in a half PPR format? I want to say to go through and take Hawkinson, but I just am never going to flex a tight end over a 3-down back. I probably have to go Javonte, even with this being a horrendous matchup, but I don't feel too good about it. Silla says, Puka or Olave, go into the Rams game. You can't decide. If you're going to the Rams game, my man, you got to play Puka. I think it's close either way, but I think you can use that as a clear tiebreaker and go Puka relatively easily and have a rooting interest there at the game. Have fun, my friend. 860 says, Kincaid or McBride at BBR? We can take out Connor and play both. No, well, we want to go ahead and play the running back. I'm probably going to go McBride this week with no Michael Wilson, plus the fact that you have a banged up Hollywood Brown. Probably want to go to McBride this week. Brandon says, PBR, we need a receiver and 2 flex spots. Sutton, Deontay, Ford, Gabe Warren. Also need to drop 1 out of Keaton and Chandler. Thanks. Thank you. I'll drop Ty Chandler relatively easily. Don't see the upside. And then our wide receiver, we're going to go Deontay Johnson. And then our 2 flexes, we're going to go with Jalen Warren and Cortland Sutton, even if I'm not super excited about playing Sutton there. Now, Matthew says, non-BBR, we got to pick one. Stroud, Lamar. If it is a 6-point passing touchdown, actually, we're going to go Stroud regardless. Go Stroud. Now, if it's a 6-point passing touchdown format, I think you have to go Stroud. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown league, I think you make a strong argument to just go Lamar with the rushing upside. And then Dell, Diggs, Kyron. We got to pick 2. We're going to go Dell and Diggs, even in a non-PPR format. Even in a non-PPR format, my friend. Okay, let's go ahead and let's move this over. And I'm just there says, start 1, Downs, Addison, Ridley, Kirk, Flowers. If you look at the underdog pick'ems, they'd say Zay Flowers. I think Christian Kirk probably has the safest floor. I probably go Kirk, but like I said, if you look at the underdog pick'ems, they'll tell you to go Flowers. Now, Amir says, pick 1, can't decide, Stroud or Lamar. I think we for sure go Stroud, 6-point passing touchdown format. 4-point passing touchdown league where rushing upside matters a little bit more. It is super tough. It is super tough there. The reality of the situation is probably just sell one of the guys. Now, Shecklin says, just got word on Sleeper Pickens to receive more targets. With that said, choose one for the flex, full PBR. Pickens or Downs, 6-point passing touchdown format. Let's go Flock. Appreciate you, my friend. I hope that Pickens does see more targets. But with that being said, no, we're going to go ahead. We will take Josh Downs. I mean, if you really are pumped about George Pickens, you can head over to Underdog. And where do they have his receiving yardage at? Pretty sure it's going to be rock bottom here. Where are you, Pickens? All right. Yeah, they have Pickens at 43.5 receiving yards in comparison to Josh Downs at 48.5. See, I think you still have to go Downs, even though obviously, I mean, you've probably heard me say a couple times down this live stream that I'm a little bit more willing to play some of these Pittsburgh Steelers now that we have no Matt Canada. Eduardo says, hey, Mason, who should we start? 2 running backs and a receiver. And 1 flex. Barkley, Mixon, Javonte Warren. We're going to go with Barkley and Mixon at running back. Our wide receiver will go Keenan. And then our flex, we will go Chris Olave in a full PPR format. We'll go Olave in a full PPR format. Okay. Now, Yeet says we traded Swift and Waddle for Diggs, Jones, and the Ravens defense in a half PPR league. I like it if we are a playoff team in a shallow format. Thing is, with trading for Stephon Diggs, obviously still have to go through the bye week. But if you're a playoff team, it's fine. John says 8-team PBR 6-5 with Mahomes, Pollard, Jacobs, Jefferson, Lamb, Hockenson, Montgomery, Ridley, Hopkins, Lockett, Charbonnet, JSN. Want to trade all depth. Any trade ideas? I mean, you have to sell someone people are excited about, right? So if you wanted to go and see if we can sell Montgomery in a full BBR format with the lack of receiving involvement, I think that people would be excited to buy him and I'd be fine to sell. So if you wanted to send, like, say, Montgomery and Hockenson to see if we can go get Kelsey to stack up with Mahomes, I think that could be very interesting. But yeah, that's probably about the line that I'd be looking to make. Now, L Scorpion says, have BBR for the flex. Kupp or Warren, we're going to go Kupp. Because Kupp was questionable. He was out for me initially. And I put in Watson, which worked. Thanks, by the way, for that. No, thank you. And yeah, I think you do have to go ahead and you have to play Cooper Kupp. I am hoping that Jalen Warren has a larger role here with the change in offensive coordinator. But until we actually see it, I mean, he's in a 50-50 backfield split with Najee Harris. It's tough to play him over like Cooper Kupp. Alexander says, Addison, Kyron, Ridley. We got to start 2. I'm going to go Kyron and Ridley with the outside chance that Jefferson does end up playing. I mean, I'm assuming Jefferson most likely misses, but there's still the chance he plays, and I want to be playing Addison if that happens. Adam says 12-team full BBR. I'm 7-4 versus another 7-4 team. Would be a big win. Need a flex. Odell, Khalil, or your boy Josh Downs. Thanks, Mason. Thank you. I kind of want to take Josh Downs here with this being a full BBR format. I think that you can make a very strong argument, however, to go through and take Khalil Herbert, knowing that you have no Deonta Foreman in this offense. So I think you can make an argument for a couple different moves here. Full BBR, I probably go, oh my gosh, it's close. I think Josh Downs is higher ceiling. Khalil Herbert probably has a higher floor, though. Now, let me go ahead and let me pull up, see if we have any injury updates, see if we have any active, inactive news. So, I mean, I feel like we know a lot about these injuries right now. So, Dameon Pierce is officially active. Rappaport says Steelers to focus on targeting George Pickens and giving more carries to Jalen Warren. So like we were saying, we changed an offense coordinator. You're hoping that you bump these guys up. Mac Jones will start, but Bailey Zappi is going to be in the mix. And then Zay Jones is officially active as well. Zay Jones is officially active as well. Okay, so now our next question coming out from, I believe, Jalen Hulu says, full BBR, we need a running back. Cook, Hunt, Chandler, Spears, Keaton, Zeke, and then for the flex, Smith, Taysom, Zay Jones, or Khalil Shakir. Fly, Eagles, fly. Fly, Eagles, fly, my friend. I'm not going to lie. I do kind of like rooting for the Eagles. I don't know. I don't know why, but I kind of like it. Now, we're going to go ahead and we'll play James Cook at running back and Devonta Smith at wide receiver. I mean, in my mind, Smith is just a very safe option in a very high-scoring game. I'm sorry, a very high-scoring offense. And if you have no Dallas Goedert, he should have a slightly larger role. So I'm fine going through and taking Smith. Now, Dylan says, Addison or Ridley for the flex. I'm going to go Ridley over Addison with the outside chance that you do have Justin Jefferson good to go. German says, 9-2, protected to lose by 20. So we need a ceiling play. Starting Kamara, Kyler, JT, Evans, St. Brown, Kittle. So how the hell are we projected to lose by 20? Am I taking an L? How do you have this much wide receiver depth as well? This is a phenomenal team. I'd love to sell like Smith and Kittle and see if we can go get to Kelsey. But, I mean, if you're projected to lose by 20, I don't know your opponent, but I'd say probably we're taking the L if I was a betting man, but that is a great team. Jeremy says, love the flock. Sorry, I meant to say just needed a wide receiver too. Already played Taysom, so Puka or Deontay. We already played Tyreek. Sorry. No, thank you so much, my friend. And we will go ahead and we will take Puka over Deontay Johnson, even if we are a little more excited about these Steelers with the change in offensive coordinator. Daniel says, starting a Superflex at BBR, Flowers, Thielen, or Khalil Herbert. I'm going to go Adam, or if this Justin Herbert, you go Justin Herbert. If it's Justin Herbert, you go Herbert, not even remotely close. If it's Khalil, I think we're going to go Adam Thielen. Cookie says, full BBR, are you playing Taylor or Puka the flex? I'm going to go Taylor. If you look at these underdog pick'ems right now you have Puka currently sitting at 60.5 receiving yards. Whereas if you're looking at Jonathan Taylor, 106 total yards. Jonathan Taylor has the highest underdog pick'em of any player this week outside of Christian McCaffrey. Jonathan Taylor is a must-start option, ladies and gentlemen. We ranked him as our RB2 overall this week. And of course, if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% a positive match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and the Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard for tonight's game as well. But Born Wizard says, Herbert or Joshua Dobbs this week? I'm going to go with Herbert, despite the tough matchup going up against Baltimore, especially if Jefferson's probably not going to play. Midmoon says Douglas or Hubbard in a full BBR format. So if you would have asked me last week, it would have been easily Chuba Hubbard, but now you're seeing Miles Sanders kind of split this backfield, so it is a little bit tougher here. I mean, I really don't know. Full BBR, I'd probably go Chuba Hubbard. But it's not a spot that I'm super comfortable with, to be honest. And Anthony says, 10-team at BBR for the flex. 4-7, but still in the hunt for the playoffs. Connor, Kirk, or Keaton Mitchell. Half BBR format, I think is probably pretty easy for me. I'm going to go ahead. I will take James Conner. Keaton Mitchell is averaging 5 carries per game and 1 reception per game. Trying to think here. Yeah, and with Kirk, I mean, if Ridley is going to come in and see this type of volume, it's probably an easy spot as well to just go ahead and pass him off and go with James Conner. Now, Lucas says, full BBR projected to lose by 18. 2-1-1. Dell, Chase, JT, Singletary, Swift, Kyron, Ridley. Our receivers, we're going to be going Chase and Dell. Our running back, we're going to go JT. And then our flex will go DeAndre Swift. Then Happy BR, projected win by 15. Sit 2 of Dell, Puka, JT, DJ Moore, Bijan, Sutton. We're going to sit Sutton, horrible matchup. And then between Dell, Puka, JT, DJ Moore, Bijan, it is tough to figure out that other bench option. I probably go ahead and bench DJ Moore, though. Jacob says, full BBR start 1, Godwin, Deontay, Odell, and Singletary. Full BBR, I'm going to go Godwin with the target volume. Full BBR, I'm going Godwin. Now, Josh says, happy BR start 3. Keenan, Kupp, Dell, Thielen. Thanks. Thank you. So, essentially, we just have to bench one guy here, and I probably do bench Adam Thielen. You for sure play Keenan Allen. You for sure play Tank Dell. It's going to be, do you bench Cooper Kupp or Adam Thielen? FTC says, Downs, Ford, Khalil in the flex this week. Full PPR. Full BBR league, I'm probably going to go Josh Downs. If it was anything less, I think you make a strong argument for Khalil Herbert. I mean, with Khalil Herbert, I don't know. I mean, it's a fine matchup going up against Minnesota. Like, it's one of the very few games that you'd assume that Chicago's competitive in. I just honestly don't really have much interest in Jerome Ford, and that Ford is in a 50-50 backfield split, one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Birdman says, Pickett or DeVito at the Superflex. We're going to go ahead. We're going to play Kenny Pickett and hope that he gets better with no Matt Canada. Jonathan says, Flex 2, Thielen, Rashad, and Nico. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play Nico and Thielen. I think most weeks we'll go Rashad White, but really no reason to roll the dice with Rashad White with him being downgraded later in the week if this is the range that we're looking at. Now, Moment, happy to see you. Says, happy Thanksgiving, Mason. Happy Thanksgiving. Full BBR, need a receiver and a flex between Madison, Chandler, London, Sheed, Amari. Thank you, brother. Thank you, my friend. I think our wide receiver, we're going to be going with London. In our flex, we're actually probably going to go with Madison. Should be a close game, and Madison is getting the volume. Dominic says, Stroud or Jalen Hurts today? We'll go Jalen Hurts despite the tough matchup. Do we sell Hurts for a last flex piece in Olave? Nope. If you wanted to sell Stroud for Olave, maybe, but not Hurts. And then, or running back with Kyron or Saquon. I would sell Stroud for Saquon. That would be the preferable deal. Current running backs are James Cook, Mixon, Mostert, Charbonnet. Last start, Downs, Hollywood, or Cook in the flex. Appreciate you so damn much, my friend. Tough matchup. I probably will end up going with James Cook. He's had the volume. He's in a very good offense. I don't know. I mean, I was thinking that once Leonard Fournette signed, I was like, oh, okay, Fournette signed. They're going to put him in the Damian Harris role. It's going to be a 3-man running back by committee, but that hasn't happened. Like, James Cook still is getting the majority of the work here. Now, the remix says Kirk or Addison with Zay Jones active. I'm probably going to go Christian Kirk. Still, I would say that he is the guy I'm most confident in starting in Jacksonville. Kevin says Pittman or Kupp. I'm going to go Pittman, my friend. Already sat Laporta, Miami for Kincaid, KC. Need points. Love the show. Y'all are killing. Appreciate you so damn much, my friend. Obviously, wish that we could go through and we could start the Miami defense, but it is what it is. It is what it is. A little too late for that. Now, Steelo says 10-team BBR double flex. Viable to start Nico and Dell or replace one with Warren. So Warren should have a little bit more of a role with Nomad Canada, but I don't know. I mean, I think you probably just play both of the Texans wide receivers. They should have a considerable amount of work here. With no Noah Brown, and it should be one of the games where we want as many pieces of as we can possibly get. Now, Jim Bid says, Flowers, Cowan, or Mixon in the flex. I will go ahead. I'll play Joe Mixon. I think you're making a long-term argument for Kyren Williams given the offenses, but I would rather see Kyren Williams fully healthy first. Nico or Ridley? I'm probably going to go Nico. And then Denver DST or the Titans DST. I don't know. Very tough. Let me look up the implied team totals. Obviously, you like the matchups a ton for both of these options. I mean, right now you have the Browns with an 18-point implied team total. It's pretty much a pick and game. Spread's 1 point. You have the Carolina spread at 3.5. Carolina with the 16.25 implied team total. So we probably want to go ahead and probably play the Titans DST over the Broncos DST. Bloober Rock says, is it bad to go with Ramondre over Jacobs? I would go with Jacobs over Ramondre. I mean, you can go Ramondre if you want. Just my thought process is, okay, well, Ramondre's in a running back by committee in one of the worst offenses in the NFL, and he's inefficient. With Jacobs, it's, oh, he's in one of the worst offenses in the NFL and inefficient. But he's not in a committee. He's still getting every touch. So I'd probably go with Jacobs. Now, Kyle says, full BBR, need to start 2. Connor, Warren, or Kyren. I will go Connor and Kyren. While it's exciting to hear that Jalen Warren will see more touches this week, let's see it first. Let's see it. Coach says, Lawrence or Kyler today. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, I'm probably just going to play it safe and go with Kyler with the rushing upside. If it's a 6-point passing touchdown league, I think you can take the passing volume with Trevor Lawrence. Chris says Fields or Kyler in a 4-point passing league. I'm going to go Kyler now that Hollywood's going to go. Hulk Smash says back again, same question, non-PPR Tank or Puka. I'm going to go Tank Dell now that Cooper Kupp is good to go and Noah Brown is not. Will says pick 2, Jamar, Bijan, Ridley, Jags fan here. My man, I'm going to go Bijan and Jamar, but I mean, obviously Ridley's been much better in the games where Zay Jones has played in, but we'll see. We'll see. I will let you know, I did not draft much Ridley at all this year, so I am very biased. Now, Rhea says, good morning, Mason. Patriots or Browns defense today? Love the show, my friend. Really appreciate you. Obviously, we would rather have the Browns defense rest of season. They are a better defense overall. For today, I like the matchup more for the Patriots. I like the matchup more for the Patriots, even though I think the Browns defense is a better one. Okay. Next question coming out from Garner says, Adams, Puka, Dell. We got to choose two. Love the content. Thank you. We're going to go with, oh my gosh, Dell for sure. Can everybody spam the chat? Are you going to go Puka or Adams now that you have Cooper Kupp good to go? I'm probably going to go Devontae Adams. I mean, we ranked Puka ahead of Adams early in the week, but I don't know if that's something we still want to be doing now that Cooper Kupp is good to go. I probably just go Devontae Adams. Now, just a chill game. We're always happy to see us. To say Mason stuck between Hollywood and Downs. I'll roll the dice with Hollywood in this range. Obviously, it is a little bit concerning with him being downgraded late in the week, though. Tyler says, full BBR 10-team league. Start Sutton, Deontay, or Downs. I'm going to go Deontay, hoping that the offense is a little bit better than it was previously. I mean, if you look at Sutton right now, they have Sutton at like 45 receiving yards on Underdog this week. And with a 2x multiplier to score a touchdown. So they're telling you Sutton's going to be falling back down to earth dramatically. OC says Addison, Ridley, or Deontay. I will go with Ridley in this range. Andrew says PBR start one. Sutton, James Cook, or Amari. Thanks, Base. Thank you. I'm going to go ahead. I probably will just play James Cook despite this being a tough matchup. Sir Barkley says Madison or Gus. Gus, even if it is a spot where he doesn't have a receiving role. And Keaton or Zeke, thank you. Thank you. And this is the range where you can play Keaton Mitchell. If you really want to play Keaton Mitchell over Ezekiel Elliott, not going to fault you for it. So, yeah, I think you can go ahead. I think that you can take Keaton Mitchell here. Now, Josh says start 2 receivers and 2 flex, full BBR. Kupp, Thielen, Evans, Kyron, Eckler. Love the show, Mace. Thanks. Thank you so much, my friend. Our wide receivers, you for sure have to play Mike Evans. And then I will go Kupp over Thielen. And then for our flex, Eckler for sure. Really, this question in my mind comes down to Adam Thielen, Kyron Williams. I think you have a higher ceiling with Kyron Williams, but given the injury concerns that we have with McVay saying that they're going to be a little bit cautious with the workload they gave him his first week back, I probably just play it safe and I probably just go Adam Thielen over Kyron. Now, Jimmy says, need a flex, full BBR, Singletary, Odell, or Amari. I will go with Singletary here, even if I do not want. Singletary is like not a must-start guy as he was last week. I want to be on record. Do not just think Singletary is an absolute lock now that you have Damian Pierce back. Drizzy says Puka or Hopkins. We're going to go Puka, and then Jacobs or Singletary. We will go Jacobs. RM says, hey, Mason, appreciate all you do. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for everything. Am I playing Pacheco against the Raiders or Kyron against Arizona? First game back off IR. Thanksgiving, Mason. Thank you. I would probably play it safe. I probably would go Pacheco over Kyron. If it was a full BBR format, however, given the receiving volume that Kyron should have, that Pacheco shouldn't, I think you can go ahead and play Kyron Williams over Isaiah Pacheco. If it's a non-PBR format, I think we probably want to go ahead and we probably want to take the player in the better offense. And probably just want to take Isaiah Pacheco, though. But real quick, ladies and gentlemen, we are 1 like away from hitting 900 likes on this stream. Less than 10% of y'all have hit that like button. If you have not done so already, please go down there, drop a like on this live stream. We have live streamed every single day since April, 213 days in a row. Sunday morning streams are by far and away the most important for us, though. So if you're ever going to hit that like button, please do it now. And also, if you wanted to check out any of these pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure you take advantage. Now, our next question coming out from Jamie says, start 3, Singletary, Flowers, James Cook, Connor, or Rashad White in a full PPR format. I'm going to go with White, Connor, and Flowers. I'm a little bit concerned about White given the downgrade that he had later in the week, but I still think you probably play him in that range. Now, Lucas says, Kupp or Flowers at the flex. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to play Cooper Kupp over Zay Flowers. If you look at the Underdog pick'ems, though, they have Zay Flowers like 72.5 total yards. They would tell you Flowers. XDS to start Ridley or Bijan, both in PBR and standard. I'm going to go Bijan no matter what. Of course, I am the most biased and probably the worst person that you could ask this question. Hook'em Horns. Yeah, you know, I love our guy Bijan, went to University of Texas. And I did not really draft Ridley at all this year when he was going at the 2-3 turn. So I'm very biased, but I'd go Bijan regardless. Bodie says, pick one, full BBR, Connor, Herbert, Lockett. Oh, Lockett dropped a dud. Okay, so we'll go ahead and we will take James Conner here, even though Khalil Herbert is a little bit appealing now that you have no Deonta Foreman. Dean of Dean says, need a W badly, ought to start, need a safety in a PPR, Kupp or Ford. We're going to go Kupp. And then Dobbs or Lawrence, we're going to go Lawrence. We have Dobbs, Lawrence, Henry, Stevenson, Mork, Waddle, Kincaid. Yeah, so go Lawrence over Dobbs and then go Kupp. If you had Jefferson fully good to go, I wouldn't fault you if you wanted to go Dobbs and just say, oh, okay, well, Dobbs is rushing upside and all the weapons in the world, but not until we get Jefferson back in. Travis says Chase, Ridley, or Nico Collins. I'm going to go with Jamar Chase, and I'm not going to think about it too much. Obviously, Nico Collins in a much better offense, but especially as you have no T. Higgins. I mean, Jamar Chase just has such a guaranteed floor with his targets. Laker Niner, always happy to see it, says a 12-team ABBR, Dobbs, Stafford, and Pickens, Addison, Odell. I'm going to go with Addison over Pickens and Odell, and we're going to be going with, dear God, Stafford has cut back in. You most likely have no Jefferson for Joshua Dobbs. So it is a tougher spot overall, my friend. I think if it's a 6-point passing touchdown format, we probably go with the passing volume of Stafford. If it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, we're going to go with the rushing upside of Dobbs. Now, Iconic Thug says, full BBR, who should we start in the flex? Nico, Ridley, Ford. Also, should we start CJ, Lawrence, or Kyler? You the man. Appreciate you, my friend. Probably going to double it up with the Houston Texans here with how good CJ Stroud's looked, right? I mean, also, this is supposed to be a higher scoring game overall. You have no Noah Brown, so Nico Collins is a very safe option with his target volume. So, yeah, I'd probably go ahead and I'd probably take both Texans here. And then, yeah, Jerome Ford, I really have not too much interest in. He's split in the backfield 50-50 and in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Shamil says Pittman or Puka. I'm going to go Pittman over Puka. The Underdog Pick'ems say the same thing. They have Puka at about 60.5 receiving yards, Pittman about 70.5. XDS says pick 2 out of Ridley, Bijan, Javonte, and then Kyler or Herbert. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, I think you can go Kyler over Herbert now that Hollywood's going to go. And you do have a very tough matchup for Herbert this week, of course, going up against the Baltimore Ravens. And then out of Ridley, Bijan, Javonte, full PBR format, I'm going to go Bijan and Ridley. Non-PBR league, I think you can go with Javonte instead. My only hesitation with Javonte is it's about the worst matchup that you could ask for going up against the Cleveland Browns. So I would be a little bit cautious if you were looking to start Javonte this week. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Verk says, pick 2, Flowers, Ford, or Pacheco, full PBR, double flex. I'm going to go with Pacheco and Flowers. I know that you have a good matchup on paper for Jerome Ford, but ultimately, I'm not starting someone who's in a running back by committee in one of the worst offenses in the NFL. Kareem Hunt still stealing the touches inside the red zone, or at least some of the touches inside the red zone. You have no Deshaun Watson. So I don't know. I don't see much appeal with Jerome Ford. Burner account says, need one of Gabe Davis, Schultz, or Khalil Herbert in half PPR format. Half PPR league, I'm actually probably going to go ahead and take Khalil Herbert now that you have no Deonta Foreman. The Grand Wizard says Puka, Kupp, or both over Nico, Javonte, and Kirk. I would bench Javonte and I'd play both Rams. If we can only pick one Ram, I'm going to go Kupp over Puka. But if we can bench Javonte, I'll play both. Frobro says Kyron or Saquon. So Kyron should be in the much better offense, but Saquon has the larger workload and a safer workload with Kyron coming back from an injury. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Saquon Barkley here, my friend. Now, Sam says, PPR, we need 2 running backs and a flex. We have Cook, Connor, Ford, Javonte, Kupp, Shaheed. Also, tight end guidance, Taysom or Freiermuth. I will go Taysom over Freiermuth. I really hope I'm wrong. I really hope that Pat Freiermuth is better. But I don't think we can start Freiermuth until we see something from him. And then for our flex, we're going to go Kupp. And then for our 2 running backs, we're going to be going with James Conner and Javonte, despite the very tough matchup that Javonte has. Thomas says, need 1 full BBR, Singletary, Amari, Madison, Najee. Also, Stroud or Fields. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to play Devin Singletary. I don't love it with Dameon Pierce coming back in. My expectation for this Houston Texans running back room will be it's probably a running back by committee where you do have the majority of the touches going to Singletary, but at the end of the day, it is a committee, so it's hard to be super excited about either of them really. But in that range, we'll play Singletary and roll the dice that he is just the full-blown starter. Now, Tony says, Puka or Nico? I will probably go Puka, but it's close. Nate says, PBR, 2 running backs and a flex. Bijan, Pacheco, Warren, Ridley, and then Lawrence or Kyler. I'm going to go Kyler in a 4-point passing touchdown format, where there we are prioritizing rushing upside a little bit more. 6-point passing touchdown league, we'll go Lawrence. And then for our 2 running backs, we're going to go Bijan and Pacheco. And then for our flex, we're going to go Ridley. But we are really hoping that Warren has the expanded role with the change at OC. Now, team says Etienne, Warren, Kyron, Chase, Puka, Kirk. We need 2 plus a flex. We're going to go ahead. We are going to be taking Etienne, Kyron at running back, and then Chase if we need a flex. Or if we need, or are you saying we need 2 in each plus a flex? If we need 2 running backs, we're going to go Etienne, Kyron, 2 receivers, Chase, Puka, and for the flex, we're going to go Kirk. But I know exactly what you mean by that, my friend. I know the dog's in here a little scared. Is there something out there? Is there something out there coming to get you? I know. Scary. Now, Jacob says, PBR, Nico, Deontay, and Pop Douglas. I'm going to go ahead. I will take Nico Collins here, my friend. Josh says 6-point passing touchdown. Are we going to go Stafford or Fields? I will still go Justin Fields there, even if obviously rushing upside's not going to matter as much in a 6-point passing touchdown format. Now, Lord Farquaad, happy to see us, says JT Mixon or Rachaad White. Here, I mean, with Rachaad White being downgraded later in the week, I don't really think that this is a spot where you need to take the risk and play White. I think that you could just kind of play it safe and go ahead and play the combination of Joe Mixon and Jonathan Taylor. I think long-term, if it's a full BBR format, you're probably playing White over Joe Mixon, right? But there's just no reason to take the injury risk this week. Now, Dominic says, for the rest of the season, Hurts, Stroud, we're going to go Hurts. Mixon, Charbonnet, Cook, Mostert. If I had to pick 2 guys, we're going to go Mixon and Mostert. Chase, St. Brown, Kincaid, Kittle. We're going to go Kincaid. And then we have Downs, Hollywood, Jason. Appreciate you. Appreciate you, my friend. And yeah, this much wide receiver depth. Can't hurt to send a wide receiver in a package with like James Cook to go see if we can get a running back upgrade in the long term, if your trade deadline hasn't already passed. But Hazel says, full BBR, Hubbard, Spears, Freeman. I'm going to go with Chuba Hubbard, even though he doesn't look that appealing in that you did have Miles Sanders split the backfield 50-50 this past week. Need a running back 2 in a deep league. Kenneth Walker got hurt for us. So yeah, we will go with Chuba, my friend. Now, RM says, do we drop Shakir for Kyron coming out the IR? Or do we keep Shakir for the big plays and drop Andrews since he's probably out rest of season? I would drop, I honestly not really hesitating to drop Shakir. The second that we get a good waiver wire pickup, going into week 13. We'll just go ahead and drop Shakir anyway. But yeah, I mean, I think Andrews is a safe drop. I know people are coming out saying, oh, Andrews may be back for the playoffs. Andrews may not be done this year. Well, even if he may be back for the real life playoffs, he's not going to be back for the fantasy playoffs. So yeah, I would just go ahead and not drop Andrews, but I'm not saying that because, oh, I'm super afraid to go through and let go of Shakir. Shakir is also someone that is droppable as well. But, I mean, obviously, if you don't have someone that we're super excited about off the waiver wire, you don't have to drop him because he does have upside. Now, next which coming out from A to Z says, 10-team Superflex Dynasty, full BBR. Trade Ramondre and a late second for Michael Pittman. I would rather have Pittman in the long term. And they need help with wide receiver with Higgins not playing. Running backs left are JT, Etienne, and Swift. Yeah, I think I would go ahead and do it. I mean, you have no idea what Ramondre is next year, but I'm pretty damn confident that Michael Pittman's about to get paid and that Michael Pittman is going to be in a pretty damn good spot. Now, Jack says, Puka or Thielen at the flex in a full PPR format. I honestly think you can go either way. Can everybody spam the chat? Who would you start here? Are you going to go with Puka or Adam Thielen? I mean, we've already seen that Puka is at 60.5 receiving yards for his underdog pick'em. Let's see where they have Adam Thielen. They have Adam Thielen at 67.5 receiving yards. So underdog has it as Adam Thielen by a pretty big gap, but I mean, obviously, if you looked at my rankings earlier in the week before we knew what was going to happen with Kupp, we did have Puka ranked ahead. But we got Puka, Thielen, Puka. Thielen. So it does look like it's pretty split. I would say when in doubt, you probably want to listen to the underdog pick'ems. Like they probably know more than we do. So I'd probably go Thielen. Peter says, PBR for the flex, Ramondre, Addison, Warren. Thank you, sir. Thank you, my friend. If we knew 100% that Jefferson was not playing, I think you can make an argument for Addison. But with the off chance that Jefferson does end up playing, I probably just want to play it safe here and go ahead and play Ramondre Stevenson in a full PPR format. Not in love with Ramondre. Obviously, we're hoping that Jalen Warren continues to expand his role, and reports are saying that he will. But we know what we're going to get with Ramondre. It's a good matchup as well. So I think you can go ahead and play Ramondre here. Now, Dominic says, I need to Flowers, Mixon, White, or James Conner. Full PPR. I'm going to go with Mixon and Conner. White will be the guy in the long term. I just don't think you want to roll the dice with him being downgraded later in the week. Pot Snob says start the Cleveland or New England defense today. Appreciate you, man. Appreciate you. I think that New England is a better matchup for today. I think that Cleveland's the much better offense overall. I'd much prefer Cleveland rest of season. But in my mind, it is very difficult to get away from a defense going up against Tommy DeVito where the Giants, yet again, have the lowest implied team total of any team in the NFL. Now, Elite Henry says Shaheed or Deontay Johnson in a half PPR format. I'm going to go Deontay Johnson and hope the offense is better with no Matt Canada. Jared says full PPR for the flex, Smith or Bijan. We're going to go Bijan. And then Lamar or Stroud. If it is a 6-point passing touchdown format, we are going to be going Stroud. If it is a 4-point passing touchdown format, I think you make an argument for the rushing upside of Lamar. Pagu says flex, Flowers or Javonte. Full BBR format, that's where you make the argument for Flowers. Much better matchup. You have no Andrews as well. I think you have higher ceiling with Flowers and higher floor with Javonte. So, I mean, you probably should know what you need at this point based off all the games that have already been played. So, yeah, I think you go with the ceiling of Flowers or the floor of Javonte, depending on what you need here, my friend. Now, Sean says, Sean says, flex 3, Jacobs, Flowers, Kincaid, Najee, Judy, Singletary. We're going to go Jacobs, Flowers relatively easily. Then between Kincaid, Najee, Judy, Singletary. Here it's a little bit tougher. I mean, I never want to go through and flex the tight ends, but obviously Kincaid is a part of one of the best offenses in the NFL. He has a massive role. I probably say we need to go through and we need to take Kincaid here. Yeah, I probably go Kincaid, even if I'm not super excited about it. The long shot says Deontay Cook or Njoku. We need a flex one. I'll probably go ahead and I'll probably play James Cook with him being in a very good offense. It is a tough matchup, though. Joel says Khalil or Demario Douglas. I'm going to go with Khalil Herbert now that we have no Deonta Foreman, or at least Deonta Foreman is doubtful. And really, no player ever goes from being doubtful to having a large role. I mean, have y'all, please let me know in the live chat, has there ever been a player this season that was listed as doubtful that ended up playing and having a large role from a fantasy football perspective? And I'm not saying doubtful. He was listed doubtful on Monday. I'm saying he's listed doubtful the day before his game. Because I can't think of one. So I remember back in the day, it seemed like doubtful wasn't as like much of a guarantee that the player wasn't playing compared to today. But it seems like over the past few years, they've made it where, like, if a player's listed as doubtful, they're just not playing. Some people saying Max Crosby. I don't know. Or is that in reference of Brandon asking if anybody has any pick'ems that they like for today? Do you like the Max? What are the Max Crosby pick'ems? I don't even see one. But I will say a pick'em that I like for today is going to be, there are two I really like. I like Zay Flowers for fewer than 71.5 total yards. And I like Jamar Chase for more than 64.5 receiving yards. So Zay Flowers fewer than 71 and Jamar Chase for more than 64.5. And of course, if you want to check out any of those pick'ems, promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match on Underdog Fantasy. Plus promo code FLOCK would get you our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers. And code FLOCK at the same time is going to hook you up with a Lamar Jackson special pick'em more than less than half a total yard for tonight. But let's go ahead. Let's move this over. Now, BP Ski coming out saying, got to toss up and need a win. McBride or Evan Ingram? So I really like Evan Ingram, but we are going to go ahead. We will take McBride, especially if you have no Michael Wilson and you have a banged up Hollywood Brown. I mean, the targets should be pretty safe there for him. Then with Hollywood being hurt, McBride may get more targets. Yes, sir, I'm in agreement with you. And then also James Cook, Mixon, or Jalen Warren. So obviously very bad offense in Cincinnati, but he is going to see every single touch out of this backfield. So I will go ahead and I'm just going to play James Cook. I'm sorry, I'm just going to play Joe Mixon here. We're going to go Mixon. Derek says Bijan or McBride at the flex. McBride very appealing, but come on, we can't play him over Bijan. Play the 3-down running back. Play Bijan. Now Parker says pick one, Hopkins, Herbert, or Addison. I think we probably go DeAndre Hopkins, knowing that you have no Treylon Burks, so the target volume's guaranteed. So if it is a full PBR format, I think we're going to go ahead and we will play DeAndre Hopkins. Hazel says start two, full PBR, Hopkins, Downs, and Odell. I think I'm going to go Hopkins and Downs here, my friend. Hopkins and Downs. Now, Sean says Connor, Godwin, Javonte, or Amari. We got to pick two in a full PPR format. I'm going to go with James Conner at running back. Between Godwin, Javonte, and Amari, it is a little bit tough. Full BBR format. I mean, you have the guaranteed target volume with Chris Godwin. He hasn't really been doing much with it. I mean, typically we want to go 3-down running back. We want to take Javonte. It's just a very tough matchup to be doing so. So I don't know, my friend. I mean, I think you can go Javonte for the floor. It's just a very tough matchup. Very tough matchup going up against Cleveland. Now, Gypsy coming out saying flex one, White or Nico Collins. I think both options are great. I think both options have a lot of upside. I probably go Nico Collins, though, with the outside chance that Rachaad White is limited based off him getting downgraded later in the week. Yuan says, hey, Mason, Mahomes or CJ Stroud? So if you look at the points scored so far this season, CJ Stroud's been better than Patrick Mahomes. You have a good spot for the Texans as well, where this should be a high-scoring game. But I don't think we should overthink it. I think you just need to play Patrick Mahomes. I mean, I said the same thing last week too, and then CJ Stroud went out there and scored more points than Patrick Mahomes, but I don't know. I don't think you should overthink it. I think you should just play the best play. And then K-Dot or Jonnu for the flex in a full PPR format. I'm going to go ahead, and now that London's fully good to go, I'm just going to say I'm not too interested in Jonnu Smith. I will go K-Dot. In reality, these tight ends are just a crapshoot, and you're just setting up a prayer that one of them scores a touchdown, right? But I think it's probably a little more likely to be K-Dot here. Nabil says, trying to clinch, full BBR, we got to pick two. A.J. Brown, Rasheed Dell, or Drake London. I'm going to be going with A.J. Brown and Tank Dell relatively easily, my friend. And then at BBR, we need a receiver, running back, and a flex. Between Hopkins, London, Myers, Evans, Bijan, Singletary, already up 77. Hell yeah. I mean, our running back, we will be going with Bijan Robinson. Our wide receiver, we will be going with Mike Evans. And then for our flex spot there, if it is a full BBR format, I think that we want to go ahead. Oh, it's at BBR league. Probably say the same thing. Probably want to go DeAndre Hopkins with no Treylon Burks, where we have the guaranteed target volume. Now, Rajan says, yo, Mason, Allen or Kyler at quarterback? So obviously it is a tough matchup for Josh Allen going up against what we have in this Philly defense that just shut down Patrick Mahomes last week, or didn't shut him down, but still had a great game against Mahomes last week. But with that being said, I'm still going to go ahead. I'm still going to play Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen has the rushing upside. In Arizona, you have a bunch of injuries. So, yeah, I don't know. I am not too interested in benching Josh Allen, even if it's a tough matchup. Now, our next question coming out from Mason says, Jacobs or Kyron? I'm going to go Jacobs until we see Kyron fully healthy. And then Kupp or Tank Dell? Ooh. Tougher spot. I think we probably go ahead and end up just playing Tank Dell. You have a better offense. Not only do you have a better offense, but at the same time, you have a wide receiver where you have no health concerns. He's the hotter hands. And you have no Noah Brown in this offense, so you have the guaranteed target volume, or at least pretty close to it. So it is so crazy to think about this. Like, imagine if I would have told you this summer, hey, just let you know, week 13, Cooper Kupp's going to be fully healthy. Matthew Stafford's going to be fully healthy. But you're going to play Tank Dell over Cooper Kupp. Can you imagine? I mean, it sounds crazy, but honestly, I think probably go Dell. Please let me know in the live chat if you think I'm overthinking this, because typically when we go through that little thought experiment, and if it's something that sounds like it would be the most ludicrous thing in the world, especially at the wide receiver position, running back's a little bit different. But at wide receiver before the season, typically it means you're overthinking it. But I don't know. I think you have to probably play Tank Dell. Zach says Ridley or Addison. I'm going to go Ridley. If we had for sure a guarantee that you had no Justin Jefferson, I think you make an argument for Addison, but with the off chance that Jefferson plays, I don't want to take the risk. And so yeah, just play Ridley. Now, Bo Ryan says pick two, Khalil Downs, and Edwards. We're going to be going Khalil and Edwards, knowing that Edwards been on a roll scoring touchdowns. Obviously, it's a good matchup as well. Khalil, you have no Deonta Foreman, so you should have the safe workload. Not a super easy call, though. Not a super easy call by any means. Now, next question coming out from, I believe, Johnny says, 2 must-win matchups. Happy BR. Etienne, Ford, Javonte, JT, Eckler, Ford, Ramondre, Singletary. Need 2 each. Thanks, Mason. Have a great day. Thank you, my friend. First one, we're going to go Jonathan Taylor and Travis Etienne relatively easily. The second one, we are going to go Austin Eckler. And then after that, it does get a little difficult. Last week would have been easily Devin Singletary with no Dameon Pierce. But now that Pierce is playing, I'm a little bit concerned that this is going to be a running back by committee. Trying to think. Because the thing with Ramondre is going to be in a committee as well, right? But at least you know you're going to have a receiving role. The thing with Singletary is you have no idea if there is going to be any type of realistic receiving upside. So it's close. I think you can go back and forth. I mean, I definitely could go back and forth. I've gone back and forth a million times by now. But I'm probably going to go ahead and take Ramondre Stevenson over Devin Singletary. Even though I'm going to be regretting it later in the week. But it's a good matchup as well for Ramondre. Now, Connor says, PBR, Ingram or Njoku. I'm going to go Evan Ingram. Ridley or Kirk, I'm going to go Kirk. And then White or Olave, I'm going to go Olave. I think most weeks you can look at what we have with Rachaad White and you can say Rachaad White's going to be the must-start guy given the guaranteed receiving volume. But like I said, with him getting downgraded later in the week, not super excited about it. Now, Chris says Jacobs, Pacheco, or Kyron in a full PPR format. Full PPR league, I'm probably just going to go with the guaranteed volume and take Josh Jacobs. I will say, though, Jacobs is not really in a spot that we're too excited about, right? I mean, you have a tough matchup going up against KC. You're already one of the worst offenses in the NFL. So it's not like I'm super, super excited about it, but I do think we will go ahead and we will take Josh Jacobs here. Now, Jay says, PBR need to fill 1 wide receiver spot, 1 flex. Options are Godwin, Deontay, Demario Douglas, Warren McBride. Also, Kyler or Herbert. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate you. I probably go Kyler if it's a 4-point passing touchdown format, just chasing rushing upside, where you do have a pretty tough matchup overall for Justin Herbert going up against the Baltimore Ravens. And then our wide receiver, I think we're going to go ahead. We're going to take Chris Godwin. And for our flex, probably, oh my gosh, maybe Jalen Warren. If Rappaport's coming out saying that Jalen Warren is going to have a larger role, maybe we should believe him. Maybe we should just go ahead and take Jalen Warren. I'm not like all in on it. I really hope it does happen, but It would be nice to have some clarity before we had to make the call, but Rappaport's saying it. Usually Rappaport is right. Zamfam says Ridley or Henry at the flex. This one's tough, honestly. I'm going to go Derrick Henry relatively easily, to be honest with you. Just given the fact that you're going up against the Panthers, you're 3.5-point favorites. And we've seen Henry have the large role whenever they are winning. Parker Gross says Swift, Evans, or Michael Pittman. Full BBR format, I probably go ahead and take Michael Pittman, but I think all options are fine. Simon says best bench stash, Herbert, Hunt, Algier, or Spears. We're going to go Khalil Herbert with the injury to Deonta Foreman. Funky B Money says best pick 3 for a touchdown the rest of season. Eckler, JT, Etienne, and Kupp. We're going to go with the 3 running backs there, my friend. 3 running backs. Alejandro says, should we start Pitts or Isaiah Likely? I'm going to go Kyle Pitts. I'm not starting Isaiah Likely until we see him be viable. Now, JN Sports Card says, Kyron or Pacheco, we need a win to get into the playoffs. Full BBR format, I think you have a little bit more of a guaranteed receiving role for Kyron Williams. I am a little bit concerned about his first week back coming from an injury, however. So if you wanted to go Pacheco, I'm not going to fault you at all for that. Let me think. I think Pacheco gives you the higher floor. Kyron gives you the higher ceiling, and it's going to be dependent on your matchup and up to you. In a normal week, I'd rather have Kyron. I am just a little bit hesitant with him coming back from the injury. Gabe says, pick 2, full BBR, Javonte, Thielen, Ridley, or James Cook. I'm going to go Thielen for damn sure. And then full BBR format, they can go Ridley as well. If there was anything less, they can go with the running back. Joseph says, good morning, at BBR, Dell or Devonta Smith. I'm going to go Dell. I think Dell's a must-start guy. I mean, based on what we've seen as of late from this offense and no Noah Brown. Space Ghost says, Nico or Ridley, appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you, my man. I'm going to go Nico Collins. I think Nico is almost a must-start player as well here. Very easy target volume to project out with no Noah Brown. Louis says, 3 slots I'm debating, 2 receivers and a flex. We have JT, Barkley, Thielen, Dell, Puka, Kupp. Which 3 are we going with? Thanks. Thank you. JT for sure the flex. JT is the best option here by a mile. And then outside of that, for our 2 wide receivers, then we're going to go with Dell and Cooper Kupp. I know most people are going to go ahead and they're going to take Puka over Kupp, but I mean, Al, if you look at the underdog pick'ems, they had Puka at 16.5 receiving yards, Kupp at 67.5. I think we probably listen to it and go Kupp as the wide receiver 1 here. Now, Wolfgang says full BBR, Lawrence, Kamara, Pacheco, Kupp, Puka, Kincaid, and the flex, Warren, Ramadre. On the bench, Ridley, London, Dobbs. Any lineup changes, any rest of season moves. Appreciate you, Mason. Appreciate you, my friend. I mean, very solid team. If you wanted to make any swaps, you'd go Ridley over Warren if it's a full PBR format. But I completely understand if you wanted to go Warren and listen to Rappaport and assume that he's going to be operating with a larger role. Trying to think. Yeah, I mean, it really does come down to what you expect with Ridley, right? I think both players, honestly, have very high ceilings, but not the highest of floors. Now, Gabriel says, hey, Mason, 8-3. I'm starting Bijan and Kyron, thinking of flexing Zay Flowers or Mixon. I think we go Mixon. I mean, to be honest with you, Flowers is appealing based off the expanded role with no Mark Andrews. But still, ultimately, at the end of the day, you just know exactly what you're going to get with Joe Mixon. You're going to get every single touch out of this backfield. Okay. Now, our next question coming out from Jose. Thank you, my friend, says, all the way down from Panama. Great show. Thank you. Standard running back, White or Keaton Mitchell? Kyron or Javonte? Thanks. Thank you. I will go White over Keaton Mitchell, even if we're a little bit concerned about his injury. And then Kyron or Javonte? I'm going to go Kyron. I guess we're rolling the dice with both running backs that are possibly a little bit banged up here, my friend. I mean, I'm trying to think. No, you can definitely use the injuries as the tiebreakers to avoid those guys, but not in that range. In those range, you have to play them. Justin says, full BBR, start 2, Evans, Thielen, DJ Moore. I'm going to go with Adam Thielen and Mike Evans. I mean, honestly, I don't think we can get away from him. Now, Meg says, Kyron or Bijan in the flex. Yeah, this is the range where we use the Kyron injury against them. We're going to go ahead. We're going to take Bijan Robinson here, my friend. And then slightly worried about the Atlanta matchup versus the Saints. My 2 other backs are Etienne and Kamara. Yeah, don't overthink it. I agree with you. It's not the best matchup in the world, but still. I do think that Bijan Robinson is the best option here. I mean, you do have to be a little bit concerned about what we have with this Kyron injury. Nathaniel says, PBR pick 3, Chase Smith, Dell, or Kirk. I'm going to go with the first 3. We're going to go Chase Smith and Dell. Mark says Swift or Jacobs. I'm going to go Swift with him being in a better offense, even if Jacobs, I mean, has more of a guaranteed role, right? Now, Archie says PBR start 2, Smith, Rashad, and Cooper Kupp. I'm going to go with the receivers. I think that you can make an argument to go ahead and play Rashad if he is fully healthy. I just don't really have. I don't really have much appeal in going through and playing Rashad White over like locked and loaded wide receivers. When ultimately at the end of the day, this is someone that you have to be worried about the injury. You have to be worried about the workload. Now, Nick says, start 2 in the flex, full PPR. Warren, Connor, Nico, Ford, Gus, Ridley. I'm going to go with Nico Collins, and then I'm going to go James Conner. While I understand that most people will go through and most people will take Jaylen Warren. I just think that in this range, we can wait and see Jaylen Warren be the 3-down back, right? We can afford to wait and see. Now, Brett says, have BBR start Rice, Shaheed, or Justin Watson. I'm going to go ahead. We're going to play Rashee Rice. I mean, I think the KC receivers are definitely a little bit more appealing now that you're in a spot, obviously, where you have no Kadarius Toney. Not only do you have no Kadarius Toney, but on top of that, you have no McCole Hardman. Even if we're using it as a tie break, let's go Rashee Rice. Now, John says, pick 2 out of 3 at BBR, Puka, Bijan, and Tank Dell. I'm going to go with Bijan and Tank Dell. Yeah, we're going to go Dell over Puka. Now, Abel says, have BBR, Zay Flowers, or Kupp for my second wide receiver spot. And Ramadre or James Cook in my flex. Who do we pick? I'm going to go Kupp over Zay Flowers for wide receiver. But if you look at the underdog pick'ems, I mean, maybe I'm just completely underrating what you're going to get from Flowers. While I agree that, yes, it's a good spot with the Andrews injury. It's a good matchup. It's just tough to get there with Flyers 71.5 total yards. I'm going to go Kupp for the upside. And Ramondre or James Cook for the flex. Who do we pick? I will go James Cook with them being in a better offense. I will say you have a better matchup, however, for Ramondre Stevenson. Now, Stefan, always out here. And you know I appreciate you, my man. Saying Sutton, London, or Ford for the flex. So it's funny in that if you look at what you have with Courtland Sutton, obviously he's been the best option out of this list. But Courtland Sutton at the same time currently is sitting here with an underdog pick'em. And I agree with this, to be honest with you, of 2x multiplier for his touchdown and 45.5 receiving yards. The expectations are Sutton dramatically falls back down to earth. He is running hot with touchdowns. It's not like the volume is really there. So, I mean, if I'm looking at this, I think it's close. I know it's crazy. I know people will hate me for saying it. But with no Marshawn Lattimore for the Saints, if you wanted to go through and if you wanted to start Drake London over Sutton, I'm not going to fault you at all for doing it, and I probably would. I'd probably go ahead and take London, to be honest. Now, Colin says, Diggs, Dell, or Pittman, any opinions? Rank them 1 through 3. I would rank them in that order, even if I love Michael Pittman. I think it's Diggs and then a wide margin down to the other two guys, and those other two are pretty damn close. Now, Central Mood says, full BBR, Gus or Connor is the flex. I'm going to go Connor, expecting the touchdowns to fall off at some point for Gus Edwards. He's averaging like less than a target a game, and he's never had target volume at all. Now, Sinclair says, are we starting Calvin Ridley over Rice today? Yes, sir. We are going to start Calvin Ridley over Rice. I don't think that Calvin Ridley is like some must-start guy by any means, but I do think that we can go through and we can start him over someone like Rashee Rice. Mark says, Kupp or Jacobs? Full BBR format, I think you probably want to go ahead and just play Cooper Kupp. Given the target volume, non-PPR would probably want to go ahead and take Jacobs. I mean, if you look at the pick'ems that you have for these guys right now, you have Cooper Kupp at 67.5 receiving yards for his underdog pick'em. If we can find it for you. Looks like we're not going to be able to find it. Trust me on that one. Let's figure out where they have Josh Jacobs at, because obviously with Jacobs, it is a tough matchup. They have Jacobs at 87.5 total yards. They have the same touchdown multiplier at 1.25x. So if it's a non-PBR format, I probably do want to go ahead and take Jacobs over Cooper Kupp. And of course, if y'all wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, ladies and gentlemen, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit badge, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yards. Make sure you are taking advantage. Now, our next question coming out from, I believe, Fall says, PBR, 1 running back, 1 receiver, and 1 flex. We have White, Jacobs, Kyron, Thielen, and Devonta Smith. Running back, we're going to go Jacobs. I don't want to roll the dice with the injured guys. And then we're going to play Thielen and Devonta Smith as well. I think we bench White, bench Kyron in that range just because we don't have to roll the dice with their respective injuries. Anthony says, Ridley or Kyron at the flex? I'm probably going to go with Ridley. I mean, I hate to say it, but if it's a full BBR format, I think we can pivot off and avoid the injuries that you're possibly dealing. The limited snap count based off the injury that you're possibly dealing with when Kyron. Petey says Ingram and Njoku. I'm going to go ahead. I'll take Evan Ingram. Lone Line says Stevenson versus Josh Jacobs. We're going to go ahead and we will take Ramondre Stevenson. Actually, no, I'm an idiot. We're going to go Jacobs. What am I saying? Both running backs, very bad offenses. At least Jacobs, you get every touch. Nico, Stevenson, Warren, we got to pick one. We're going to go Nico. We're going to go Jacobs and Nico there. Soul Assassin, always happy to see us, says First place, full BBR, Fields, Barkley, Etienne, Moore, Thielen, Hockenson, Chase. And then on the bench, Tua, Chandler, Smith, Stevenson, Reed, Schultz. Any moves for today and the future? Thank you. Thank you, my friend. If we were to start someone, I would want to get Devonta Smith in here. I would personally start Smith over DJ Moore based off the injury that we have to Dallas Goedert. And honestly, no, super well-balanced team. It's not like we're loaded up with too much depth down there. So I don't think we make any long-term trades. Really, it's just the only thing. I'd probably start Smith over DJ Moore. Now, Tony says, Pittman, Dell, DJ Moore, Bijan need 2 for receiver and 1 for the flex. We're going to go with Pittman, Dell, and Bijan Robinson, and we're going to bench DJ Moore in that range. Eddie says, Kupp or Puka. I would rather have Kupp. The underdog pick'ems also say Kupp over Puka. I'm going to go Kupp. Luigi says, pick 3, Etienne, Eckler, Bijan, JT, Javonte. JT, Etienne, and Austin Eckler. I would love to tell you Bijan Robinson over Austin Eckler, but it's difficult to get behind that. Even though we spent all offseason drafting Bijan and avoiding Eckler like the plague. But every wide receiver has turned out to be a bum a bum or injured. Anthony says Addison or Ridley at wide receiver 2. I'm going to go Ridley. If we were 100% guaranteed no Justin Jefferson, I think we can make an argument for Addison, but we don't know right now. Tristan says, have BBR Lawrence or Kyler. 4-point pass to touchdown format. Give me Lawrence. 6-point pass to touchdown league. Give me 4-point. Give me Kyler. 6-point. Give me Lawrence. Rams play Kyler well in the past. Need 1 running back. Hunt, Chandler, Pierce, or Singletary. We will go Singletary here. B. Jordan says James Cook or Khalil. I'm going to go Cook. Take him says Kupp or Chase to start. I will go Chase with no T. Higgins, even with this offense being horrible. And TBG says Kyron or Addison. I'm going to go Kyron over Addison. And then Mad Max says Olave or Devonta Smith. We're going to go ahead. We will take Smith, given the fact you have no Goddard. Everlist says Mahomes or Stroud. I'm thinking Mahomes. I would go with Mahomes, my friend, but obviously Stroud's been better this year. I mean, it is crazy, but I don't want to overthink it. I just want to play Patrick Mahomes. Aiden says Stroud or Fields. We're going to go Stroud. Need upside. Opponent has tank. Yeah, we can go ahead and we can take CJ Stroud there. CJ Stroud. Okay. Okay, let's move this over to. I'm sorry. Sir Barkley says, Madison, Cleo, or Gus, you demand. Appreciate you, my friend. It's obviously a spot where you have had Gus Edwards be the best out of this group for quite some time with touchdown efficiency. Is a good matchup as well. I think I probably go Khalil Herbert, though, if we expect Keaton Mitchell to expand his role at all, and you have no Deonta Foreman. And I know I'm being annoying, my man, but Claw, it is still crazy every time I see you in the chat, just because I think oh my gosh, I watched that guy on YouTube, you know? I know it's like small world. It's like crazy. But Isaiah says, Tua or Lamar rest of season, 6-point passing touchdown format. Love you, my man. 6-point passing touchdown league is going to be a little bit closer where the rushing upside doesn't matter nearly as much. But I think that we're going to go ahead. I think that we probably will still take Lamar, even if it's a 6-point passing touchdown league, even though it's closer. Now, Chris says Mahomes or Kyler. So if you look at Kyler, you have the rushing upside, but you have so many guys that are banged up in Arizona right now that I'm just going to play it close. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Mahomes. I'm sorry. I'm just going to play it safe. I don't know why I'm saying it. I'm going to play close. We're closely going to take Mahomes now. Just go Patrick Mahomes. It is crazy, though, because if you go through and Because we have some more injury updates real quick. If you look at what Mahomes done this season, it's not great. So look for a roughly 2-to-1 ratio between Kyren and Royce. Game flow will dictate a lot of that. So like we said, with Kyren Williams, I'm not expecting the usual workload. That's why if you look at how we highlighted his underdog pick'em this week, I am taking the fewer than 80.5 total yards on Kyren Williams. And that's the main update that we have over the past hour, according to the Underdog Twitter, which the Underdog Twitter is by far and away the best follow. I mean, they pretty much have everything there. Everything. Okay. Let's move this over. Dill says, yes, Mixon's getting 30 plus. It's windy and rainy with the new quarterback. Hold me to it. So how bad's the weather? Let's see this. Let me see if the totals have moved at all for this game. Cincinnati's still rolling with about a 17.5 point implied team total. The only offenses that are supposed to be worse than Cincinnati this week, the Raiders, the Panthers, the Giants, and the Jets. Pittsburgh at about a 20-point team total, which is higher than what you usually see them with. They're right in line with like Tennessee, and New England is actually the team that's very surprising to see how high they are. But Simon says Singletary or Warren. Can everybody spam the chat? Are you going to go ahead? Are you going to take Devin Singletary or Jalen Warren? Ian Rappaport coming out today saying that you should see more Jalen Warren. Devin Singletary is now going to be dealing with Dameon Pierce. So you got Warren, Singletary, Warren, Singletary. Okay, so it looks like everybody is telling you to go ahead and take Jalen Warren, my man. I mean, I drafted more Singletary, so I'm really hoping it's Singletary. I hope Singletary remains starting running back in Houston, but it is tough. It is tough. Now, Top Gun says, I've been offered Smith for my Jamar Chase. I'd rather have Chase over Smith. I'd rather have Chase, but I'm also an idiot here. But we are 5 minutes from kickoff. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not done so already, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Of course, we will go ahead and we'll get you an updated video later tonight with everything that happens in the games today. And of course, if you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and a Lamar Jackson special pick'em, more than less than half a total yard as well for the game tonight. So make sure you are taking advantage. And I'm excited for that game tonight as well. Angel says, is Hollywood a start? If you are looking at Hollywood, man, I mean, I would say that he would for sure be a start if he was just fully healthy and you had no concerns. But knowing that he was downgraded later in the week, instead of looking at him as like a wide receiver 2, I'm going to be looking at him as like a low end wide receiver 3, as we do have a little more downside there, of course. But let me find some just general questions in the chat that people did not copy and paste. Okay, that question was copied and pasted. This one was not. Chill says, start up Deontay with the weather. The implied team total really hasn't moved for Pittsburgh. They're still at about 20 points. So, I mean, it does depend on your other options, but I think Deontay's more exciting now than he was previously based off the change with the offensive coordinator. Trill says, full BBR, White or Stevenson? I'm probably still going to go ahead. We're probably still going to take Rachaad White there, my friend. SS, can you check my other chat got skipped? Thanks, Space. No, thank you, my friend. I'm super sorry if we skipped one. Let me go ahead and see if we can find that on the other page. Just give me 1 second here. The speed attack says Singletary or Douglas. We need to win. So not super excited about Singletary. Dameon Pierce coming back in. But I do think that we probably need to go ahead and take him over Douglas. No, I think we're going to go Singletary. Brian says, Shaheed or Demario Douglas? Appreciate you. I appreciate you, my friend. Now that we have no Michael Thomas and you had 7 targets from Shaheed this past week, I will go ahead and we will just take Singletary. I'm sorry, we'll go Shaheed. We'll go Shaheed. I apologize. SS says, running back 2, Singletary, Hunt, Hubbard, Sanders. I'm going to go Singletary. Flex spot, McBride, Judy, Gabe Davis. Davis due for a big game. We have Josh Allen. Thanks, Mason. Thank you, my friend. We will go with Trey McBride over Gabe Davis. I mean, if you look at what you have with Trey McBride, it's a player that should see a very safe target share in that offense. And really, there are no concerns. Mad Max says Olave or DJ. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Olave over DJ. Hottie says 10T BBR double flex. Trade H&N Jamar for Devonta Smith and Jacobs. So Jamar to Devonta Smith, I'd say it's a slight downgrade. H&N to Jacobs, slight upgrade. If you need points right now, and obviously we were having to deal with the Devon H&N injury, I am fine with us going ahead and making this move. I'm fine with it. Now let me find another question that was not copied and pasted. Dan Reinman. This was copied and pasted, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Andre. If you have not copied and pasted a question in the live chat, okay, Joshua, this one was not. Ford or DeAndre Swift. We will go ahead and we will take DeAndre Swift here over Jerome Ford relatively easily, my friend. Relatively easily. Now let's look, see, did Papers copy and paste this question? No, we did not. I need a quick answer. Khalil or Josh Downs for the flex? In non-BBR formats, Khalil Herbert, not close. Full BBR league, honestly, it's up to you. I think you can go Josh Downs or Khalil, kind of up to you. But if it's non-BBR, you go Khalil. Now, Quentin, was this copied and pasted? No, it was not. Bijan or Singletary. We're going to go Bijan relatively easily here, my friends. S&S. Was this copied and pasted? No, it was not. Pacheco or James Conner. Tough spot, to be honest with you. I think probably go ahead and take Isaiah Pacheco, but honestly, it is up to you. I don't know. It's up to you. That's close. But thank you again, everybody, for hanging out with me. I really, really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day. Wishing you the best of luck. I'll be dropping that video later tonight, covering everything that happens. But thank you again for everything. I really appreciate you. Really hope you have a great Sunday, not only from a fantasy football perspective, but also a great Sunday overall. Hopefully you don't have to work. Hopefully you can spend some time with friends and family. And yeah, thank you for everything. If you wanted to check out any of those pick'ems over on Underdog Fantasy, you can find that link in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK, 100% deposit match, plus our rest of season fantasy football rankings and tiers, and that Lamar Jackson special pick'em for tonight, more than less than half a total yard. But thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. I really do appreciate you. Really hope you have a great day, and really hope you to see you out with the video later tonight.